Hello. Hello, everybody. It's that time again. It's that time again where I tell you that it's once again that time where I tell you that it's once again that time where I tell you that it's once again that time where I tell you that it's once again that time where I tell you that it's once again that time where I tell you that we should get rid of these stealth faces just to make sure we're on live chat, because we are on live chat. So let's bring these stealth faces right back. We're close. We're close. We got a lot to go through today, but I think we could finish chapter 4 and the last of these side stories. I believe it's gonna be really fucking stupid. We have to come back in a week from now just to read 2 fucking side stories. I will not have it. Okay? Alright? That's silly to me. I think that's the big sillies. We're not going to do it. Anyway. So, we got 3 of these side stories. I think we were meant to read Child and Child much earlier, but we just kind of didn't. So, whoops. I wasn't sure exactly when it took place, though. So, I was thinking this, Bob, as the stream was starting up, as we had like a little music in the pre-stream, I was thinking, what if you took, because the way the order of things, the way it is, I don't know if like you care about the way it's like presented, but what if you took, like, instead of having all the files like just there, you had them all like arranged in folders, right? You had them arranged in folders by like chapter. Like chapter 1 would be chapter 1 with all the appropriate side stories, even if they weren't written at that time, right? And like maybe you could put like a date in them if you wanted to like denote when they were written, because like something like the Miko side story chapters, I think it was like important for you to that it be known that like it was written really early on, because like it's a really weird Miko. It's not the same Miko we're watching right now. Although like when you read everything back to back like we have, it's like it doesn't help that it took a long time to get from like chapter 1 to where we're at right now. Just always it'd look weird. It's probably a stupid mental thing. I don't know what you mean by it'd look weird. You just have folders when this is like chapter 1, chapter 2. And then you have like the chapter, and then you have like the side stories that take place concurrently with the chapter or are otherwise relevant to the chapter. Right? Because like you wouldn't want to read Yokai of Sudden Appearance around the same time that you actually wrote it, because you wrote that one like during like chapter 3. Or early chapter 4. It's just a way, it's a way to sort of like organize things so like it's easier to read, or easier to know what to read when. And that goes along with like the thing I mentioned yesterday on stream, where it's like you could like have like a Google Doc thing, or not a Google Doc thing, like a Google Form thing, because you have like the Twitter account that you post things to, that links to the Google Docs folder, and I have like the Google Docs folder in the description of the videos or the streams. But like, if you have a choice up and you're leaving it there for a day or however long, and then even if somebody who's watching the Google Doc, like, probably not gonna be able to participate in that unless you like invite them to Discord or something. I don't know how good an idea it is, because it depends on like participation, right? But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, today we're reading a fanfic written by Bob in chat. It's called Touhou Post Fantasy Story. It is an interactive Touhou fanfiction that takes place in the distant future, when fantasy and yokai and things of such nature have gone on to harshly decline, to the point where they've approached near non-existence. In this world, there's no longer really like a Gensokyo. We instead, our story takes place in the city of Zen. Our protagonist is a shrine maiden by the name of Hakare Miko, which is silly when you say it with the Eastern name order because it just sounds like you're saying what she is and not her name. And she's basically like Reimu. She's basically a Reimu's descendant. So she has like this yin yang orb, kind of like a family heirloom. And one day, while she's doing her duties around the shrine, maintaining it, cleaning it, doing this and that, she notices that it's giving off like this faint glow. She approaches it. She hears a voice come from it, and next thing she knows, she has this thing called a fragment that she has control of. This fragment gives her the ability to borrow the ability of the Touhou it represents. So the fragments are basically like the Touhous, and she gets to borrow their abilities or powers. So she does a little laser light show with the fragment at night, drawing the attention of a lot of different characters. The characters we've met so far is one, we have an energetic yet forgetful fairy named Teki. We've also met a ghost girl named Tomo. On the way back home from meeting Tomo, we met this little girl named that we named Igai. We named her when we saved her life because she didn't have a name, and she began kind of fading out of existence the second we met her. The one who helped us save her was a dragon girl named Aho. The next day, after saving Igai, she had come to the shrine with literally just covered in rags, so we went on a shopping trip to get her some proper clothes to make sure that, you know, we're not neglecting a child. But on the way back, we noticed that Tomo, the ghost girl who we had sent Teki to go get for help, she came to the shrine. She was kind of staring daggers at Aho. Reason why is because they got into a fight the night before. Aho standing guard, make sure nothing happened to Igai or Miko, and then Tomo coming over to try and help. Misunderstanding occurred, they got into a fight, Miko had to break it up. So now, they're still at odds with each other, Miko has to deal with it, so instead of anything else, she listens to their arguments and thinks, you know what, you're both to blame. She tells them both off, and Tomo gets upset, and Aho just walks away. So now she has to set things right with them. She talks to Tomo, talks to Aho, manages to get through the conversation without irreparably ruining whatever budding relationship she has with these two. And everything's kind of sort of okay again. The next day, it turns out that it's time for her to do her shrine maiden duties. So she has to go around the city, do her blessings, do this and that, and visit somebody who is not her friend, specifically not her friend, and make sure she gets her blessing too. So that's when we meet Medi, the girl who was born to family name of Melancholy, which are somewhat associated with and acquainted with what we would call like the Hakare family. We learned from another side story chapter that this family kind of started from like this boy who had met Medi, who had met Medicine Melancholy back in Gensokyo, and during the decline of the barrier, Medicine had taken it upon herself to gather up all the Sakumogami she could, or rather, what remained of them after they all faded away. So the inanimate objects that they reverted into being, and decided that it was her job to take care of them. Seeing this years later, when he found her again, and telling her that he would help, that he would do it himself, the same fate ends up befalling her, and he decides that's going to be his mission now, to the point where he even takes her name. So that's where the Melancholy family comes from. They're acquainted with Miko's family. She visits her weekly. Aho got bodied by a flower. And then we went home. And Igai has become a sugar addict. Teki is enabling it. Miko loses her fucking spaghetti over it. And now Kyohi is trying to play therapist just very, very badly. Or she thinks he's trying to play therapist. All she's really doing is just antagonizing Miko further. Kyohei being the voice that Miko heard from the Yin Yang Orb. The same voice who, at the end of day 3, when Miko went to sleep and visited the sea that night, told her that her goal of trying to basically break the pendulum that swings between fantasy and truth, these cosmic forces that decide on whether or not fantasy and these fantastical beings get to exist, and whether they reign supreme, or whether truth, science, empiricism, and logic reign supreme. She thinks, Miko at this point thinks that that's a pretty shitty way for the world to work, so instead of letting that pendulum swing, let's just grab it. Just hold it still, like right in the middle, or fucking break it. That's currently our protagonist's goal at the moment. How she's going to fulfill that, we have no idea. We just know she wants to fulfill it. We just know she wants to do that. So when we left off, I think we were talking to Kyohei, and they were having a little bit of a back and forth. Miko had this weird barrier show up that she had no control over, that Kyohei had to break through. And it messed Miko up a little bit. Now, there's a couple things I need to stress. There's a couple things I always need to stress, because I always forget. I should also bring up the music, just so we have that. I should also bring up my co-streamers. Where are my guests? Here we go. A couple things I need to stress. One, this is an interactive piece, an interactive story, meaning that at the end of every other part, at the end of every other post, we're presented with choices to vote on, and whichever choices get the most votes, Bob ends up tallying them up, and that's the direction the story will go in. So reader choice is kind of like what determines what happens, more or less. Another thing, I am super fucking autistic when it comes to grammar, spelling, shit like that, phrasing, wording, to the point where if somebody types badly enough, I genuinely can't understand what the fuck they're trying to say. Occasionally, we'll see some weird little grammar things, weird little spelling things that happen, kind of throughout. I want to stress that even though I point these things out, even though I poke fun at them, I genuinely think that the actual narrative content of the story and the characters themselves and their interactions are strong enough that I can generally usually kind of look past whenever I see that stuff happening in this story in particular, not usually like a lot of other things. Whereas usually it's the kind of thing that would make me like completely drop something if it like frustrates me enough, or if the story I'm trying to read just doesn't really seem to have enough going for it. But that is not the case with this one. Anyway, it's musical spoilers. Shush. So we're gonna do. We're gonna read a few side story chapters first, because there's a few we still need to finish, a couple we still need to finish, and one that we just straight up haven't read, because I'm not sure when we were meant to read it. I think we were meant to read it maybe a little earlier, maybe like chapter 3, or earlier, chapter 4. Probably chapter 3, I don't remember. Anyway, so we have this side story chapter called Child and Child. This is awkward, or at least it's definitely awkward for you. You mean? Here we go. Yeah, this is definitely written really. No, wait, no, it doesn't matter because it's all been in second person. Okay, it's hitting me again. It's like, no. You mean? What do you mean? I mean? I didn't say anything. Story. This is awkward, or at least it's definitely awkward for you. You mean you don't want it to be weird or anything, but she's just looking down at the floor, avoiding eye contact with you, or even acknowledging your presence. That's what it feels to you, at least, since Igai finished talking with Miko. And she seemed to have such a great conversation, too. God. Makes you really jealous of how well the two get along with each other. But not like actually angry kind of jealous, but instead like, oh, I want to be as good as friends as you two kind of jealous. Bah. Yeah, I think I have something to talk about, though. You see in your notebook that you totally used to be friends with some younger kids. I thought she also learned from her notebook that she was terrible with kids, though. Wait a sec. You're sure you used to be good with kids? So there's no reason why you can't get along with the guy now. Or no. She learned from dealing with Igai that she was terrible with kids, or she concluded that she was from dealing with Igai. I'm remembering now. But as Igai wriggles about in her spot, occasionally glancing up at you, you can't help but worry. Oh, so much. Should be an H after that. After that, because it's the word O. You must have made her really upset. But it's not your fault. It's so hard to remember those things like personal space, not talking too much, and whatever. Heck, you just want to be friends and talk and have fun and all that stuff. Why do you look so nervous, Miss Techie? Oh, that's great. You guys want to start to talk to you. Rule number 71. Always respond to a friend. Nervous? I'm not nervous. I'm just very excited to the point of being nervous. Too much excitement. Yeah, that's it. Pfft, you? Being nervous about kids? No, that's not it. Nope. Nah. Nada. Nope. Nothing. Rule number 27. Don't lie to yourself. Actually, I'm feeling a little nervous. Did I make you upset when we first met, Igai? That question's always been on your mind, even while you were shopping with Igai and Miko. So worried that we'd mess things up for Igai. Thankfully, you're, like, certain that things went well, but you're never sure about this kind of stuff. Or much, really, but it's worst when it comes to other people is all. No! Igai says rather loudly. Can't help but be shocked at how loud she is, though. This is definitely the first time you've ever heard her be so loud. And Igai looks amazed, too. I'm sorry, I just don't want you to think You guys definitely having trouble getting her words out. Rule number 93. Don't sweat the small stuff. That's fine. It's fine. Just hearing your words is great. I never think bad of you or Aho or Tomo or Miko, or really just about anyone, because you've all been so nice to me. And I just want to be nice to you is all. You say, making sure to smile all the while. It's supposed to be polite and a nice thing to do after all. Dang it. You must have messed up again. Why else would I be looking so scared of you at the moment? Was it how you said things? Your posture? Your everything again? At times like this, there's only one thing to do, though, to get to the bottom of everything. Just ask your questions. Hey, that's something. Why are you looking at me like that? I can't fucking read all this like that. It's not working. You guys are looking more and more confused, like she's about to cry. Miko seems to respond well to rapid questions, though. Or maybe you want to say something? You look through your notebook just now. And like always, there's some conflicting rules in there for situations like this, but you won't despair. Instead, you just choose one at random that seems like it's relevant and hope it works. This time it's rule number 44. Let the other person talk. You guys seem to still be stunned at your actions, or behavior, or whatever it is that's surprising her still. But it seems like your question is getting her out of her stupor. She slowly seems to wake up, and must have processed all the things you asked. Can you, please speak slower? And less? I don't like talking a lot, is all. Dang, that hurts your heart hearing that. But it's fine. You've seen tons of parts in your notebook that were all about being quiet and shutting up, so it's okay. Bright smile on your face, you give a great response. Sure. And that's all you'll say. Because it'll make Igai happy. You'll gladly stop talking entirely. Okay, Emiya. And after a couple minutes, it's really obvious that Igai isn't feeling all that good with the silence. When you come back after another couple minutes, having made some tea for Tomo and Miko, okay, so this is during chapter 3, after Miko tries to mediate between Aho and Tomo, and they both get upset at her. This is during chapter 3, after that point. When you sit down again, you resume reading and writing in your notebook about the recent experiences you've had. So what I'm trying to say is we should have read this much earlier. You'd rather not forget meeting another new, or old, friend with Aho, after all. But possessive, you're not even done with the 5th page of notes when Igai speaks up. I'm sorry, I didn't mean I didn't like hearing you talk. I'd be happy to talk, but can you please talk a bit slower? You give such a happy little gasp of happiness at hearing those words come out of you guys' mouth. You got so much you'd love to talk to her about. And give the direct permission to talk, just talk, is great. You can't help but love a good conversation, even if you don't usually remember them. Sure. There's so much I'd love to talk to you about. Who you are, what you like, what you dislike, what I hate, what I am, who I am. Heck, you name it, and I'll actually talk about it. Actually, how about I talk about the things I like? You say, one after the other, making sure that this time, to at least give some space in between your words. But the fact that Ika hasn't interrupted you again, you'll take that to mean that it's all okay. So I'll begin with a taste of something really tasty called ice cream. Oh shit. She's planted the seeds. The addiction begins. Okay. So that's child and child. Red. Next up is one that we probably also should have read a little earlier. It's counterattacking Amanashaku. This one's gonna be 3 pages long as well, so it's gonna be a little bit shorter. Should be able to get through it quick. And I'm so tired after doing that crap. Like, sure, I don't think you had much choice in if you'd be helping or not, but you'd still rather not. Kinda goes into your shtick. I can't read. Kinda goes into your shtick, and hell, you like your shtick. It's something that you take pride in. Causing the upturn of society is a great thing to spread your name. Well, I'd like to think that at least, but it had nothing to do with what's happening. Hell, that old hag didn't tell you, you'd still have no idea. Like, yeah, you thought it was weird when your tool started to fail, and man, it was one heck of a nasty surprise when that magic bomb, it did absolutely nothing. Actually, ended up getting beat real bad by that red-white maiden. You have a small lump in your head at the thought. Though, you get beaten up real bad against her, it's really nothing compared to what that stupid maid did. You're getting real upset at you for trying to steal some of her, steal from her precious mistress. Like, who'd blame you for trying to take stuff from there? It's the end times, and the magical does it all the time. Anyways, who cares? You just wanted to change things, make a big splash in the world, and you're getting desperate. You don't particularly care if you end up disappearing, honestly. You never did anything you did because you cared about living. You cared about representing what an Amanajaku is. Someone who will change the world. That's something to smile about when you guess. Then you get... We need a comma here. And, yeah. You got a stupid smile on your face because, hell yeah, you're gonna change everything. That part of you inside that orb, it's gonna turn over the entire truth thing. Heck, you're sure that our spirit is so strong that as soon as that poor stupid future maiden uses it, she'll be overwhelmed with the need to flip the entire world on its head. That thought keeps you going in a nice journey from that shrine. You weren't the only one there, of course, sacrificing something. Oh, you, I've been the only one who was forced to be there. Hell, you're sure you saw one of those dumb gods there to give something up. Certainly the fullest you've ever seen the shrine, at least. Heck, there weren't even that many there when they did the Danmaku fireworks before. Finding a nice rock, lay out the now powerless fabric that you found so useful during the days when you were hunted by all the important folks of the land. It's fun times, that. The times where you ruled alone and enjoyed causing chaos because no one could handle you. Not even when they cheated. It does sting a little, remembering one moment though. The fight you got in with the little one was a bit annoying. Like, can't really describe why it was annoying though. Just kind of hurt you in a way that no Danmaku ever really got to you. And so you reconciled with the twerp eventually, but those days you spent alone out, going from place to place, just hiding from people. Now as you look at the widening cracks in the sky, you wonder if they're really that great. Sure, it's destiny that an Amanajaku ends up alone. That's how things are. But still, that wasn't the end. This is. So, yeah. Makes sense that no one else is here with you now. You're supposed to be alone. But that just means you didn't need to be alone up until now. Like, You could have totally done what all those losers at the shrine maiden beat up did. Yeah, you could have made up with them. Stop trying to upset everything. Close your eyes, try to imagine what that life would have been like. Drinking at the shrine, hanging out with a kid. Just messing around with the Maku instead of trying to survive. Well, if you did, maybe you could have actually... Yeah. You could have actually said sorry for real. Instead of the half-assed thing you did. You just went and brushed off the issue as being in past, no longer mattering. You were really lucky the girl was so easy to forgive you. She forgave you. Why can't you forgive yourself? I think it's a proud yokai like yourself feels so goddamn horrible. You open your eyes in frustration and sit up grumpy. This isn't fair. You're supposed to be someone. How did nobody ends up dying like a chump to some all-consuming void? Sure, you didn't get everything you wanted in life, but you got some stuff, so why are you so angry? As you ruminate on things, your small, squeaky voice pop up next to you. You doing okay, Seija? It's a familiar voice. You don't have to turn to her to know who it is. Yeah. Doing fine, Shin. What are you doing here, though? Did you be at the shrine helping others with their stuff? Jeez, what is she doing here? She should be alone. Hopping onto your shoulder like she usually does. Shimimaru hops up onto your shoulder like she belongs there. I already did. Before you, actually. She's still acting awkward around you after all this time you've known each other? Like, seriously? You tried to get her to stop that, but all she does is say, that's a bit, or something. I saw you run off alone, and I thought I'd come see you before... You're 5 steps from punching a hole in your wall, spending 3 hours on writing, but getting nothing done? Ugh. That's... I know that feel. It's frustrating as hell. Especially if there's shit around you distracting you is worse. Wait, come on now. Need to trail off, kid, before we die, right? You like beating around the bush with this. You're all gonna die. No reason to avoid that truth. She just nods her head in confirmation. Can't help but sigh at her naivety. Naivete? I know what you said about being alone in the end, but could you please let me stay with you? I want to be with you until the end, Seija. She barely manages to get that sentence out. Also, put on her fancy dress if she's gonna may as well put on her fancy dress if she's gonna say it like a confession. You know, that's at least a couple of days away, right? Do you want to spend your time with someone better, Shin? You're not the best company to have. I gotta pretend to her that you are. No. You're my friend, Seija. And I won't abandon you. I want to bond in you. It's not abandon, it's a bondin'. I want to bond in you. There's that voice of hers again. When she speaks with the same conviction of freeing all the weak yokai from the grasp of the strong. That's why, after all these years, you're still together. You let a long sigh, pluck Shin onto the ground. As you lay back, look at the ever-increasing cracks in the sky. Fine. You're complaining to me about this being a shit honeymoon, okay? A sweat laughter leaves from the inchling. It sounds wonderful. We never dream of it. An Amanajaku could never have real friends. Though, doesn't mean an Amanajaku can't have a little one that follows him around no matter what until the end. Okay, and that's that one. We're getting through quick. We might manage this. Just got more side story chapters to read after the end of chapter 4, though. Okay. Speeding along through. Not friends. I was taking a little sip of water. Kinda needed it. What'd you miss? You missed Shimimaru telling Seija that she wouldn't abandon her. Not abandon, abandon. She wouldn't abandon her. Which is good to know, but I wish she would, I hope she doesn't abandon her though either. That'd be sad if she did. But she didn't say she wouldn't do that. Anyway, we moved on to not friends. "8 years, 8 minutes, and 8 seconds. Oh, it's her birthday. Stare out onto the field of poison outside my home as I keep counting the time since I was first born. My internal clock is one of, if not the simplest process in my body. Probably process ease, right? And I hate it. 8 years, 9 minutes, 42 seconds. See, I got way too much free time. Between being stuck in the house due to certain concerns and having already thoroughly explored the fucking, excuse you, the Dudic Zoyui, there wasn't much for me to do. Mom and Dad would always forbid me from helping with their work and almost outright scream if I tried to do any work on myself. 8 years, 11 minutes, 3 seconds. Most of the time, I ended up doing nothing at all, and because I wasn't allowed to change my own body, I couldn't turn off the darn internal clock. It was always ticking by, and I was aware of just how much time is being wasted. Maybe I should sneak out, just for a bit. I mutter as I observe a bug approximately 30 meters away from my window. That's like roughly... What was 30 meters again? It's like roughly 100 feet. Give or take. I mutter as I observe a bug approximately 30 meters away from my window touch a particularly toxic flower and instantly die. I'd run through those same flowers dozens of times and even collected some for my parents. The toxic particles often stuck to my frame like stardust. XXT just expelled from my body as I sigh. I always get a bit like this when I think about the stars. They're just so free, able to move, go wherever they want in the sky. Not that they can think, but it's metaphorical, so the thought is fine. Mom and Dad had promised that one day my body once my body's upgraded enough, I'll be able to walk among normal people without any problems. But they're always so overprotective of me. I can lift a full-grown tree, for goodness sakes. I don't need any protection. 8 years, 20 minutes, 39 seconds. I see them far before they arrive. My eyesight isn't the best once I get past 60 meters, but I can still make out the shapes. 2 large people, 1 smaller one in between them. Likely 2 adults and a child, then. I squint my eyes, even though that won't help me see any better, because this is concerning. Very concerning. No one's allowed in the Dodic Zoyui, besides certain personnel in my family. And if it was the people Mom and Dad were worried about, they would have already made me hide away. So, who were these people? The moment doesn't even pass before the thought. The moment doesn't even pass before. Fuck. A moment doesn't even pass after that thought before I rush downstairs. My joints creaking as I move faster than I should in my current body. 8 years, 21 minutes, 13 seconds. Mom, Dad! I shout, nearly tripping down the stairs as one of my knee joints lock up from overuse. I spot a suspicious group of people approaching the. Blah, blah. So I did. No musical spoilers. This don't fit. Fine. So I didn't make mention of this before, but my current body is built primarily for life support functions and keeping me alive. It's not exactly up to the task of even running around at a light sprint for 5 minutes. So going from 0 to full sprint inevitably means this happens. Falling down the stairs like a spring. I hope thankfully we haven't put in the pain receptors yet. Clang. Many. Sweetie! 8 years, 47 minutes, 9 seconds. It's an odd experience losing consciousness for me because of the way my body works. The time between losing consciousness and waking up feels like nothing. It's only thanks to the stupid clock that I know I passed out for over 20 minutes. My internal something before my eyes do that I'm currently positioned rather awkwardly. My neck is turned backwards. Both my legs have locked up. You know what? This doesn't fit either. It's a little too cheerful for Medi having just like fucking broke herself and now she's like laying on a table. My neck is turned backwards, both my legs have locked up, and my left arm is completely disconnected below the shoulder joint. Well, that and that one of my eyes is currently facing the wrong way, so when I open them, I'm partially seeing the inside of my body. Mom is standing over me with tools in her hand as she tries to repair the damage I caused to my body. I always find it funny, a bit funny, how they're always worried about my health, but She decides the best place to keep one of her tools handy is her mouth. Though I can't see him, I can hear Dad's voice as he talks to someone. From how far away his voice is, he must be talking to them at the door. I wonder if he remembers that we recently upgraded my hearing. I'm worried about this. Give him a couple of more minutes, this will be in a more stable condition. Yeah, that's Dad's voice. Oh, this meme. I forgot about this meme. Maddie's dad, Maddie's mom. Oh, no. It's great for dissonance. Uh-oh. Real-time meme. You know what the bad part is, too? You can very easily express this entire thought without even naming the characters at all. Like, you can express exactly the same sentiment without ever bringing up these characters' names. Maddie's dad, her body was made by you and Maddie's mom. Even with how little I keep up with the newest technology, you know, I both know she shouldn't end up getting so badly injured from just falling down the stairs. I feel like the sentiment here is probably something like... I feel like the sentiment here is, I think he's probably going for something like... How would I phrase this right to try and, like... I gotta try and figure out what the intent is here, while also leaving the names out, because there are no names for these two characters. Actually, what is the intent? That's okay. I'm starting to realize I don't think I was ever 100% clear on that. I know you two made her body. I know you two built her body yourselves. And I don't particularly keep up with the newest technology. But you and I both know she shouldn't get injured like this from falling down the stairs. Something like that. But I'm not sure if I'm reading between the lines right. Oh, okay, so then I got it 100%. All right, never mind. Oh, we're seeing it change in real time. I feel like I'm gonna get asked what the rest of what I said was. Catchy's play. Okay, I think it was something like, I need to build her body yourselves. And I don't keep up with the newest technologies. But you and I both know, and then it would just be the same thing after that point. Like an acknowledgement that like an acknowledgement of what they've done and how extraordinary it is. And then the admission that he's not aware of, or completely aware of what exactly it all means. Just that he knows that that they've like beaten a whole ton of odds. And then his main argument of, this doesn't fucking make sense. I feel like this part should more emphasize. Okay, so then there should be more emphasis on how little sense it makes to him that her body is so fragile then. More so than the other direction I think I was going in. I don't know how I feel about that one either. Well, the problem is trying to understand where he's coming from and where his head's at. And for me, as like a reader, I don't know that. But if I had to choose how to write it, it depends on that's what it depends on. You see what I fucking mean? We were having a discussion about this on Discord the other day. Like, this is what I mean. I can't write this character because I can't get in his head because I don't have access to that. But you do. Like, that's what I mean. That's what I was talking about. Like stuff like shit like that. That's what I meant when we were discussing what we were discussing the other day. Anyway, moving on. I don't recognize that voice though. Whoever it belongs to definitely isn't as far as Mom and Dad, seeing as they aren't even aware of how hard it is to keep my body running. Betty. Hearing my name, I focus my attention back on Mom. I'm gonna need access to compartment B24. Can you open that up, sweetie? I roll my one working eye at Mom's overly polite tone. She doesn't need to ask me to open up any part of my body, but she's insistent that she needs permission to work on me. Really silly, honestly. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be alive, so why shouldn't I trust her to keep me alive now? Got it, Mom. I smile as the distinct hiss of the chosen compartment opens up near my legs. Red lines over my body becoming a deeper crimson color as I do so they went from being red to being red. My smile turns to a frown quickly at that because as the color becomes crimson like that. Damn it. Mom hisses out between clenched teeth. Maddie's dad, she shouts. Her voice full of worry. Logic error is creating an artificial blockage at compartment B24 and spreading fast. Like neon red to crimson red? So like fucking red to red? Don't understand. Richard? Maddie's dad just wanted a coupe? Maddie's dad did nothing wrong. It's almost scary how quick Dad can move with his installs, as he's by my side in an instant. 8 years, 53 minutes, 20 seconds. My internals are quick on the uptake, even my brain's quickly becoming frozen in fear. When I opened up the compartment, the area that caused my legs to lock up due to miscalculation quickly started to spread to the rest of my body. Like a virus, the error locks up each part of my body as it goes into an erroneous attempt to stop a problem that doesn't exist. Normally this wouldn't be the biggest issue, as even if my body completely locked up, I'd be fine, but due to giving higher level permission to the original area, the error could spread everywhere in my body. including parts essential for living. And if those are locked up... Mom? Dad? I whine. Fear evident in my voice as I feel more and more my body being locked up. My parents are yelling now, but I can only focus on the terror running through my few organic parts. 8 years, 54 minutes, 0 seconds. I want to die. I want to die after 8 years and 54 minutes of being alive. I don't want to die before ever meeting any other person besides my family. I don't want to die. I don't want to die, so please, someone, anyone, let me live. 8 years, 1 hour, 23 minutes, 3 seconds. My environment changes instantly to me as a great deal of time suddenly passes again. I fall out of the chair I was sitting in as my body flails back for an instant. Sudden ability to move again after having almost my entire body become locked is joyous, but I'm still scared, and if I had real lungs, I'm sure I'd be hyperventilating. Whoa! My face on the floor. I can't see whose voice surprised my movement, but once again, a voice I don't recognize. Not the same one that was talking to Dad, but a younger one. Their voice is light, and I quickly make the connection between the kid I saw walking with the adults and the voice. Scrambling up, I realized I'd been put back in my room, and left with a girl who looks a bit older than my body in front of me. Her maroon eyes behind a pair of glasses locked onto my own artificial eyes. Her short black hair is incredibly plain and boring, and her outfit could be found just about anywhere with the gray hoodie. Wait, what? Her short black hair is incredibly plain and boring, and her outfit could be found just about anywhere with the... Okay. They didn't quite explain anything about how I was alive, and going by my internals perfectly fine now. Neither did it explain why the girl looked like I was a cloud of deadly neurotoxin primed to kill her. She was reeled back, pulling up part of her hoodie, partially to hide her face. Sadly, I was also frozen in a similar manner because I have no idea what I should say. Or how to start talking. Or what was okay to say. Or just about anything when it comes to basic human interaction. Like, I'm perfectly fine with my family, but there's no way I can act the same with strangers. Quick me. What's something you'd say to a person? Good morning. Great, it's nighttime. I sound like I removed all my emotional output internals, and I was truly an unfeeling doll. Lovely. Perfect. Think during the next upgrade, I'll ask for the ability to blush so I can probably communicate to others how stupid I feel. It's, night, though? I turn my head around to face the window without moving my body. Oh, yes. Look at that. No sun out. What a mistake. Ah, yes. Perfect. I don't have to look at the girl while making a fool of myself. Though, the fact that I can hear her hyperventilating is probably a bad sign. I tilt my head as I think about why she'd be panicking. I mean, my internals indicate that I'm fine now. Thought that was very scary, and my body is intact, which means that either Mom or Dad managed to put me back together, so... Why did she be panicking? Yo, why did she be panicking, though? Are you okay? The girl whose name I should really get to know so I don't have to keep calling her girl yelps. I hear her rushing over. Her footsteps surprisingly heavy for someone who looks to be quite light. Oh, yeah. She probably wasn't expecting me to turn my head around like I did. Or, wait. Wasn't that an install you can get in the city? Sure, it was expensive, but it shouldn't be that shocking or concerning. Even without looking at the girl, I could tell she's hesitating to come near me. Contemplate for a second whether it would be best to just keep looking away from her or to face the horror of speaking face to face before deciding that I would confront the problem known as social interaction. Am I making a joke or there's something wrong with why it's supposed to be why would? I know it's supposed to be why would. But when you read it aloud, okay. I know it could be why would, and that's technically correct. But when you say it aloud, it feels more like a why did. At least, like, for why, because if it was the word, no, because I think you're kind of right, because if it was the word it, then it could work, right? Like you can contract it would do this to it'd do this. But at the same time, the reverse is true with it. You can't, while it might be technically correct, if you contract it and did, you say it did do this, then you'd be like, it did this. And that just sounds like you have a fucking speech impediment. It's sort of like kind of technically correct, but it's the way it reads. Where were we? Oh my god, can you do that again? Great, got it. She jumped back in surprise and didn't know whether to run away or stand her ground. What would Dad say in this situation? Don't worry, I'm perfectly normal, I say, perhaps a bit too quickly and with a bit too much energy as I wave my hand in what I hope is a reassuring motion. I know in an instant that was the wrong thing to say. You could omit one of these stats, and it would still read exactly the same as you want it to. I know in an instant that was the wrong thing to say when she looks at me with blatant disbelief. I know in an instant that was the wrong thing to say when she looks at me with blatant disbelief. I'm gonna do it the other way again. I know in an instant that was the wrong thing to say when she you see how it sounds? It sounds like identical in terms of like what your intent is. Bruh. I'm looking right at the document. You think I can't see when you shit talk me in the document? It is? I know Daddy said you guys are weird, but this is a bit much, isn't it? She mutters that last part. Obviously not intending for me to hear it, and though it honestly expends an unnecessarily large amount of energy, and it's one of the more useless upgrades I've gotten, I puff out my cheeks in frustration. We're not weird, I say angrily. Mom and Dad are awesome and cool, and you're the weird one for not thinking that. I'm not weird, the girl speaks with the confidence of someone too offended to be worried. You're weird. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. Well, if I'm weird, then you're just boring, I say with absolute satisfaction. It's kind of perfect comeback that would be put into a book for all the people of the city to read. The girl, understanding how outmatched she is in our battle of wits, balks at my finishing a line. Without any way to counter my truth, she's unable to counter. Now I've proven, beyond a shadow of a doubt, my family isn't weird. Oh my god. Yes, here it comes. Just like when I finally managed to convince Mom and Dad to include a certain improvement in my next upgrade, I'll hear the acknowledgement of my superior reasoning skills. You're a yokai, aren't you? Okay, yeah, she's weird. The girl, who was very clearly frustrated with me moments ago, is now looking at me like I look at Mom and Dad when they start working on a new project together. Though, they've never squealed with delight just like she did. A yokai? I ask. That's a term I've never seen anywhere in my books. Yeah, you're totally a yokai, aren't you? I'm almost put off by how excited the girl is now, but I feel like something I haven't in a long time. 8 years, 1 hour, 29 minutes, 7 seconds. I'm excited. I'm excited to talk and learn more about something I have no idea about. Maybe, I hesitantly answer, having to push down my own rising excitement as I speak. I've never heard of a yokai. What's that? Blah. The girl suddenly jumps back in shock. You're only maybe a yokai? You could turn your head like crazy, and you got doll joints. That's totally yokai style stuff. Huh? I frowned, my confusion displayed clearly. Is that totally normal though? Like, I know installs are expensive sometimes, but you could definitely get a body like mine, if not better, in this city. Sure, they couldn't be quite as amazing to have let me be alive right now, but it certainly wasn't. Wait, they couldn't be quite as amazing as to have let me be alive right now? Huh? But it certainly wasn't anything that should be surprising to anyone living in the modern era. she whines in protest. I've been in Zen a few times, and everyone looked normal. That means you've gotta be a yokai. Zen? I asked, confused. Are we talking about the same place? I'm talking about Gexiao. Gexiao. She recoils when I say the word. What? What? Did you, Mom and Dad, never tell you what city you live in? It's actually a horrifying thought. Not be told of the world you live in to the fullest extent possible sounds like a nightmare of an existence. There's so much to know about the world, and it's all important. Understanding how the world works means people can make the world a safer place. Please don't say that word, she mutters, a hand on her head, and an eye closed in pain. You know, it hurts to hear those words. I just call the city Zen because of that. Jump from where I am and zoom over to the girl, having to resist the urge to land in front of her with a single jump. Because, like, who cares about what a yokai is right now? This is so much more interesting. It hurts to hear certain words? Do you have hyperacusis? I move around the girl, looking her over with a couple more basic external diagnostic tools. No, can't be that. You haven't reacted like this to anything else I've said. Perhaps a chemical imbalance then. Damage to vernix area? I don't know what that is. When the girl tries to move away, I grab her wrist quickly. Do a quick poke with a needle in my wrist. Obviously clean. Take a small blood sample to analyze. Sure, it's one of the internals in need of an upgrade, but I'm certain in a couple minutes I'll have a good idea if this pain is caused by some strange chemical imbalance. Ow! She whines. What was that? Needle, I respond clinically. Now while the blood is being processed, what else could it be? It too likely originates in the brain. Her parents are obviously not as responsible as my own if they haven't already taken her to the hospital to get this checked out. That might be the best thing to do first, but then I'd like to get to figure this out myself. What kind of yokai uses needles? Look at the girl, tilting my head in confusion as I quickly let go of her wrist. The girl almost falls off to her back when I do so. You didn't answer me before. What's a yokai? I might as well ask since there's still a few minutes before the blood sample's fully analyzed. The girl grabs her wrist and looks at me in confusion. Aren't you a yokai now? Though? Aren't you a yokai though? Shouldn't a yokai know what a yokai is? Area responsible for understanding spoken language. Okay. Humans don't know what humans are until they're told, I hopefully point out. How would I know I'm a yokai unless somebody told me what a yokai is? Girl's still rubbing her wrist, which is totally pointless as I also injected her with a bit of rejuvenation for the wound. Looks conflicted for a moment before taking a stance that screams of cocky confidence and overt fervor. Yokai are the strongest of the strong, monsters from the night, who used to play by no one's rules but their own, magical creatures who could do anything and everything before the evil of the day banished them to the corners of the earth. But when they come back, my family will be there to protect everyone and save the world. With each word the girl speaks, the feeling of hope she radiates becomes stronger and stronger. By the end of her little speech, she actually went up on my bed and stood tall in the goofiest hero pose I would ever likely see. When the last words leave her mouth, her body, she's huffing and puffing as she's used every last bit of her energy to talk. Okay. Lesson learned. So hard to talk to. Crazy people even more so. Magic isn't real. You know that, right? Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. Your blood type is A. No, it... What? I roll my shoulders, check a small vial of blood from a port that opens up on my left shoulder. Your blood type's A. You're perfectly healthy. Magic isn't real. You have all the expected biological abnormalities of your age. Your core temperature is only slightly below average. Okay, fucking... Medi's fucking tipping her fedora. Don't try to say reasonable stuff and see something past that. Don't try to say reasonable stuff and see past something really stupid. The girl jumps off the bed. Magic is real. Mommy and Daddy told me so. Magic's not real, though. I shout back. It's just a stupid thing to argue about. Magic is just stupid people's excuse for not knowing things. You calling me stupid? No, I'm saying you should read a book. Seriously, who still believes in magic? She seriously believes in magic? It's insane. Magic is as real as the stars in the sky are fake. But my family fought against yokai. We've got books about it and everything. I've read it. I've read those. So there! She points her finger at me. You read it in a book? No way. If that's the case, then could she actually be right and I'm in the wrong? Wait a sec. Yeah, we swapped. We went from second person to first person here. If that's the case, then could she actually be in the right and I'm in the wrong? Yep, she grins. Satisfied with victory here. If you don't believe it, then how about you show me the book that says that yokai aren't real? I bit my... Wait, we're still in first person. Have we been in first person the whole time? We might have been. Wait, where... Wait, hang on. I just saw a U, though. Unless I'm being retarded and that was outside of the quotation marks. Dude, my brain is fucked by the second person narration. From the last one I read. I've been reading in second person? I have been? No, because this one's first. This is first person. This is first person. The very beginning is first person. Okay, yeah, it was the last part that was like fucking me up. I bet my let metal meaning metal as I do so. Dang, this girl's a lot more clever than I originally thought. I don't have a single book that even mentions yokai. So there's no way I could bring one out to prove she's wrong. I'll find something later. I'll make sure not to meet her eyes when I say that. But can I really not look at her? She's brought up things I don't know about, and even after talking to her, still don't know much about. It's also interesting. I want more of this. Hey, I hop in place, nervous to even ask this. Wasn't I taught not to give my name to strangers if I ever met any? Wasn't this all very dangerous? But being alive, as proved by what happened not even 2 hours ago, is dangerous for me. Do you want to know my name? The girl tilts her head in confusion before her confusion quickly turns into embarrassment. Oh, I'm sorry, I never told you my name. I didn't ask for it. I asked if you wanted to know mine. Maybe it's related to that pain, hearing certain words earlier, and she just ignores some of my questions because of it. I almost hope it's that. But I'm the one visiting your place. I should introduce myself to you, not the other way around. She reaches out with one of her hands. So, I'm Miko. It's been, nice to meet you. Hesitant, worry about all the meanings that can come from such a simple handshake. I almost don't shake the girl. Well, that's why you shake her hand, and not her. Oh. This should be possessive then, the girl's hand, not the girl. Because if we omit Miko, this becomes, I don't shake the girl hand. Which makes Medi sound kind of fucking misogynistic, actually. But I want this. Life's become so dull and boring, and now Miko's suddenly here, and things are interesting again. So I reach out and shake it. 8 years, 1 hour, 36 minutes, 57 seconds. I'm Medi. It's nice to meet you, Miko. Medi. Oh, Medi! You both turn to hear a voice from downstairs. Please, if you can, please come downstairs. We've got a few things to talk about. Unexpectedly, another voice joins in. It goes for you too, Miko. The boring adult talk is over, so we're just about ready to go back. Mom's voice is, for once, something I'm not happy to hear. Oh, no, that was Miko's mom. Whoops. The other feminine voice also annoys me. I don't want Miko to leave. Not yet. We haven't even gotten to talk for that long. Coming, Mommy. Just give me a second. Miko shouts back. Let's go with my hand before speaking to me. I guess... Fuck! I lost my place because that made a line... Wait, where the fuck am I, actually? Oh. I guess time is up. Sorry I didn't introduce myself sooner. I can't fucking read. It's fine. I grumble as I follow Miko down the stairs, dragging my feet the whole time. Dang it, Mom. Why'd you have to interrupt things? People I assume to be Miko's mom and dad are already at the door. I don't spare more than a glance at them before looking at my parents. Miko's already practically jumped into her mom's open arms. Does Miko have to leave already, Mom? I grumble. I wanted to talk more. Dad and Mom look at each other with small smiles. There's always the one that means that they're the happiest, but I can't exactly see what there is to be happy about right now. Well then, got some good news for you, sweetie, Mom says. Starting today, Miko's family are going to be visiting us every week, so you get plenty of chances to meet up with your friend. My eyes whirl as they widen. At the same time I speak, so too does Miko. She's my friend? We're friends? While both me and Miko stare at each other, both of our parents start laughing. So, I don't get what's so funny. Friends are like major things, right? They're supposed to be like family, but not family. I don't think me and Miko are close enough to each other to say we're friends. But I want that. I want to be friends. If I learn more about her and she learns more about me, then could we be friends, couldn't we? Wait. Oh, then we could be friends, couldn't we? Daddy, Mommy, stop laughing. We aren't friends. I only told her my name a few minutes ago. Miko exclaims, blushing all the while. I'd like to be friends. Even while our parents are laughing, Miko clearly catches my words. She looks at me conflicted and unsure. I don't blame her. It's way too soon for her to call me a friend. But we're not friends right now. Friendship comes later. I hopped down the stairs and got close to Miko so that our faces were nearly touching. I have to go on my tippy toes just to barely reach eye level with her. So if I can't be friends with Miko right now... So, let's be something else first. Let's be confidants. People that'll talk and share secrets. How about that? My voice is pleading, almost desperate. Miko looks unsure, pressured, and wanting to give an answer that'll make everyone happy. I need this, but... does she? Yeah. She nods her head with the little room she has. Not friends right now, but confidants. 8 years, 1 hour, 37 minutes, 23 seconds. Confidant like a word an 8-year-old would know. My internal clock is perfect. Never fails, it's always accurate. Let me know how much time I was wasting. Now, let me know when I'll see the most interesting person again. It's a word 8-year-old Medi would know. Okay, fine. Alright, guess what time it is? It's time to go back to chapter 4. Okay, so we got Not Friends done. And we've read Counterattacking Amanashaku. There's still like 6 side story chapters left. A couple of them are short, a couple of them are long. And the rest of chapter 4, which is, holy god, 40 fucking pages. Here we go. I think we left off on Speak Of. I think where we last left off... hang on, where do we... We read A Steady Hand last time. It speaks. Gonna have to add new terms to the glossary. I don't think we started Speak Of. No, we extremely didn't, because I would have remembered. I would have remembered. This is when Tomo comes back. Tomo's been gone for a while. This is when she comes back. I would have remembered if we read this part, because this is where it starts to get, like, rough for Miko. Okay. Sorry for the spoilers. God dang it. You can't even begin to properly voice how stupidly tired you are. It's been what? Not even a full day since you got back to base, and you managed to get zilch. 0. Not a thing. Tomo. Comes a voice that most would describe as divine, though you prefer absolutely annoying from the monitor in front of you. It's only been a couple of hours. Given up already? Just to show how utterly annoyed you are, you slowly drag your head up so you can look the broad in the face. Well, face cam, but who cares? Okay, well, you do, admittedly. Her black braided hair reeks of having spent hours and hours in the mirror to perfect it. Her gray blouse lazily hangs by the threads on her shoulder while she leans far back in her chair and is she even wearing any pants? You can totally see her blue as blueberry jeans on her bed. Pooh. You basically growl into the microphone, staring directly into the lazy girl's whitish eyes. I wouldn't be so exhausted if you actually, I don't know, helped? The last part comes out as a loud scream. Seriously, you've been searching for answers about Miko's memories since you got back. When Repu came on, you were really hoping she'd actually help you for once. Ah, but Tomo, my dear, it's my lovely voice. Voice shifts pitch to be more angelic. Not enough to soothe your worries. I would cut this after here, and then drag this over here. I don't understand the point of splitting the line like that. Just kind of reads. It just doesn't kind of read well. It doesn't flow. My opinion, style choice, but like, that's what I would do. Her voice pitch shift to be more angelic. Not enough to soothe your worries and concerns. Also, putting this part here would better emphasize what the narration is saying. You rub your head trying to suppress the 17th or maybe the 200th. Who knows? Headache you can feel coming on. Repu, the second researcher of your little get-together, chimes in. Don't you think it's a mite unfair of our most loyal of retainers to, who... On the half of your screen, not occupied by Miss Useless, is her companion, Miss I don't know a thing. Make a fool out of me, you half-heartedly suggest. Missing the urge to just throw your hands up in the air and fall through the floor to escape? Yeah, that exactly! But no, Princess isn't annoying like Repu can be, or an absolute bitch like the Dragon Ho. Sure, she's mostly useless, but she tries to help. And yeah, she speaks really weirdly. You know it's because she's chuny as fuck. Like, sure, she's got on a half-cent worth tiara, but it's better than usual. Not that Princess didn't try to wear her usual getup when she first came into the chat room, but it's really only so long she could wear the robe, the garb thingy on top of that. Both long sleeve and way too big for the girl. And that skirt you've seen her trip on every single time she's worn it. And sure, girly, white is for purity and whatever, but you swear it's not all the same color. Wait, you swear that it's not all the same color? Not because Princess actually understands fashion, but because they're different levels of dirty. Wait, what? Oh, okay. You don't care if Repu reassures you that she makes sure Princess probably takes care of herself. You don't believe in a thing unless you see proof for yourself. Hey, Princess, Repu says, as seductively as a high schooler who looks like an adult can, which is scarily good. Honestly, disturbing to a degree, because you can't do the same. You think you should totally be able to. Repu probably cheats or something. Mm-hmm. Yes, what is it, Knightly Repu? Why do we have an E here? Wait, am I... I'm pretty sure you don't have an E in Knightly. Honestly, I think it's gotten harder to work since these two friends came online. I couldn't help but notice those large, brilliant lips of yours. Repu leans closer to her monitor. You're left wanting to bash your head in this. You're left wanting to bash your head in, as the same trick as usual is playing out. Because this is the reason things are moving so slowly. My lips? What about my lips? Right, Repu? She's not in the room with you, Princess. Why are you blushing like a maiden who's about to get her clam eaten? Well, right between those beautiful lips is something that, if I was with you, I'd have to get a great deal close to. I would not be able to resist myself, you see. Slam, 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 slam. The pain of the desk meeting your forehead isn't enough to erase the secondhand embarrassment you're feeling. Also, Princess is one person. I know. Singular they! But like, I don't care. Yes, I mean, yes, no, maybe. Screw it. Get some hair in your mouth, Princess. Oh God, it feels great just to yell that out. Right between your lips. The curly brown stuff you love to take care of got... Wait. The curly brown stuff you love to take care of got caught in between. How did that even happen? How? Her hair barely reaches her neck. How did some of it end up in her mouth? Oh! Quiet reply Princess gives is perhaps one of the nicest sounds you've heard all day, besides silence, of course. I see. Well, thank you, Retainer Tomo, for pointing that out. As your payment for your service, I will advance twice-fold my efforts to research these memories you spoke of. Why is she saying it in curly braces? Why is it that whenever it comes to anything regarding Miko, like, everybody turns to fucking Kumagawa? Stop. You lazily gaze at Repu, unsurprised to see her looking slightly grumpy. Yeah. What a wondrous action you've taken, Tomo. If only I could steal credit as well as you do. Cherry sitting creaks and groans, she's laid back in it, stretching her arms out as far as they can go. Him and Bob trying to suppress the massive yawn that comes out. Look, guys, you say. Come back to Lean as close to the screen as you can. I don't think we're gonna get anywhere good right now. So what, Tomo? You go back to that creepy old shrine empty-handed tomorrow? Repu asks, voice now back to normal. Well, this is really important. Indeed, Retainer Tomo. You had worded your request for aid as if it was of dire importance. Is it truly fine to end it here? Yeah. It'll be fine. Tomo! No. There's no way. Get up, look around, double check. Honing in on the voice you just heard out of the many you hear all the time. Voices of those that speak of you. Hey, Tomo, what's up? Retainer, are you perhaps feeling the voices once again? You hear Princess sigh. Are you not taking care of yourself once again? Have we not discussed this prior? It is utterly irresponsible of you to... Tell me you hear me, don't you? Quickly turn off the computer you've been using to talk to Princess and Repu. This isn't the time, nor the place to explain your nature as a yokai to them. Especially because... Oh, please stop screaming for Tomo! And help me hold her down, I don't... Ah! Damn it, that was techie this time. What the hell is going on at the shrine? You listen to voices your whole existence thanks to your ability. You've gotten rather good at telling out what people are feeling from their voice alone. And sure, you're not surprised to hear Techie panicking. The girl seems like the type to do so on a dime, but Aho? The uber bitch screaming your name like she's begging for help? That scares you. Every insect you build over the years screams at you. They scream at your to run, to ignore the yelling, to hide away, but you remember. Wait, so Tomo has her own skill called memories? Is this a ghost meme? Is memories as a skill specifically related to ghosts? That's why Tomo has this skill too? Don't understand. Oh, that's not the case. Never mind. Oh. They whisper, help them. And Tomo pops off. When you teleport to the shrine, there's one thing that catches your attention before anything else. It's Miko on the floor, with a feral look in her eyes. That of a critter defending itself from a predator. But more than that, she's screaming. Miko is screaming and she isn't stopping. Move. Even for your enhanced yokai senses, the moment moves too quickly. One moment, you're standing in nearly in the middle of the room. The next, you've been pushed down to the ground left of where you were. Adrenaline, or whatever the yokai equivalent is, floods into you. Desperation, your eyes start around the room, trying to access whatever the living fuck has happened. Probably supposed to be assess. Whatever the living fuck is happening. On top of you is Aho, already starting to get up. She must have been the one who screamed at you to move. But why the hell did she knock you down? Oh, because where you'd been floating just moments prior, there's a giant black spike that nearly reached the ceiling. Hell, they must be at least as tall as the tallest room back in the pit. How tall is that? For all we know, that's 18 feet. Yeah, exactly. Also, I'm pretty sure what you typed out just now would still be like a few kilometers. Ah, the sound of pain. Something approaching death. The sound catches your attention, and you dash your gaze to the back wall of the room. You can't stop but wince. You can't stop but wince at seeing the image. You can't help but wince at the image. Hecky is pinned against the wall. Web-like cracks spread across the manila-colored thing from the sheer impact she must have made. Holding her in place is a large, dripping tentacle thing that's barely managing to exist. Hecky herself looks like she was just pushed through a wind tunnel and tumbled like a bunch of stones. Her clothes are ripped and torn in multiple places, with a whole lot of light cuts on her body. Her arms in particular look like someone made many clean cuts with a knife. Hell, Aho doesn't look much better. Sure, her clothes are perfectly fine, thanks to her being a walking naked model. Okay. When Bob gets back, we need to talk about this. Or maybe I should just talk about it now. You can still see what looks to be like some light bruising on parts of her. No cuts, though. Her hair is also a mess, and heck, you think you could see her eyes looking more like that of a lizard instead of a human. And damn, if the rest of the room doesn't look like the worst you've seen Repus. Does look like the worst you've seen Repus and then some. Kotatsu has its top splintered into a load of pieces after hitting the left wall. The left wall? Along with that, there's a ton of the same dark spikes haphazardly poking through the corners of the room. They're all much smaller than the one that nearly hit you, but seemingly to make up for that, they keep moving around the room, becoming bigger and smaller and taking on odd shapes at random. Some of the shoji doors have huge tears in them too. Though, even with all the damage in the room, to people and objects alike, that in the worst condition is the one who's still screaming. The hell is going on? You scream as you float into the air. Dodging out of the way of Miko as she lunges towards you at breakneck speed. There's no way she learned how to properly fly in a day. How is she going so fast? I think that's Miko screaming. Holy shit, has she even taken a breath to stop screaming since you arrived? No time. Ao's on the other side of the room, her eyes darting quickly as she avoids spike after spike that are aimed at her. Just try knocking her out with some Damaku or something. You barely manage to turn yourself intangible in time to avoid the veritable cage of dark spikes surrounding you. Wait, you're back? Okay. We need to bring this up. Ao doesn't look much better. Sure, her clothes are perfectly fine, thanks to her being a walking naked model. Because, okay. What does this mean? What's that mean? I mean, I know the memes, right? It's because Aho's clothes are literally made of the flames that she manipulates, and that's what Tomo is getting at. Like, why does Tomo know that? Okay, so do I remember the trip that happened with Igai and Teki the day after getting Igai? The shopping trip? It's the only such trip I remember is the shopping trip when we went to buy Igai some clothes. Aho and Tomo were following you high above the clouds during that entire mess? I'm stewing on that. Aho mentions that she was like lying about watching Miko and Teki and Igai. We don't walk away with, but from that we don't necessarily walk away with the presumption that she was watching the entire time, and she mustn't have been, because when Miko got back, she was on the stairs to the shrine with Tomo, and they were like about to fight, or they seemed like they were about to fight, or they seemed like they were like a few seconds away from fighting, or like one bad exchange from fighting. And we never got much more other than Aho just saying like, no, yeah, I was watching you guys. For whatever reason. We were supposed to get through this quick, but I have to weigh my words carefully. Or I have to try to when it comes to stuff like this. Because I brought this up before on stream, and I think I brought it up when discussing the story off stream as well. And there's moments where the characters will demonstrate that they possess knowledge of things that they otherwise seem like they shouldn't have, or they express ideas that came from a conversation that never seemed to occur. The problem I have with that specifically, because now it's coming. No, because now it's coming back. Now I'm remembering. Okay, so there's a point where Igai talks about how Miko told her you shouldn't stare at people, and it's like, okay, we never actually saw Miko say that to her. Like that conversation never took place. But Miko, while they were going on the shopping trip, mentioned that she told Igai some basics about how the world works, and maybe like that level of interaction is something she went over, because like maybe while they were walking to the market square, or maybe on the way back or something, she saw Igai stare at people, and so that's when she told her that. We can maybe kind of infer that at some point during the parts that got skipped, or that got glossed over from like the way to the market square and the way back, that maybe that conversation took place, didn't explicitly need to be shown. But then you have something like this, where Tomo knows Aho's clothes are completely made of fire. Here in chat, you're saying it's because they were in the sky the whole time, following Miko and Teki and Igai. But I seem to remember you saying in the Discord a much longer time ago, I think when this first came up, or maybe it might have been Gray Slime who suggested that. I don't think it was, though. Somebody said, oh, well, they all ate dinner together on night 3. And that's probably when it came up. They probably talked to each other about their abilities or whatever. Which, at the time, made no sense to me, because we have, like, Aho being actually secretive about her ability. And then we have Tomo, who literally expresses to Miko that, like, your abilities are not necessarily... Or I remember it being kind of implied that your abilities are not necessarily something you blab about. generally speaking. But then if we go with this version of events, then I still don't like it. Because I'd be more willing to accept it if there was some expression that that event actually even took place. But as far as the story, with the way the story is written, for all intents and purposes, that never fucking happened. If there was like some expression or something that actually went down, be a little different. Like instead, if Tomo threw in something like, "Oh, you learned that yesterday when you're fighting with her in the clouds," or some shit like that, okay, it'd still be like, but I don't know. Right? Yeah, it's like. Yeah, when there's some kind of like, how do I phrase this? How do I argue this? Because the thing about Miko, the other part, I mean, the part about Miko and us not seeing like conversations that purportedly occurred between her and Igai. That's like particularly egregious. I think I mentioned this to you before already, because she's like our POV character. She's the lens through which we see this world, and generally every chapter from beginning to end is like literally a day of her life. We're following her the entire day, for the whole day, with her specifically, with very, very few exceptions. So when it seems like there's things happening that she's doing without us knowing, it seems to kind of like it doesn't track. And with this kind of situation now, what this has become, I can't tell if I like it less or just as little. Thanks to some bruh. I just need to bring it because that was it's something that's like stuck out at me. I brought that up because it's one thing that stuck out at me before. You ain't dealing with it. Look, this is partly in celebration of the narrative, but it's also a critique. Okay, it doubles. It's both. You can like something a lot and still, critique its flaws. Trying to around with the muck or something. You barely managed to turn yourself intangible in time to avoid the veritable cage of dark spikes surrounding you, and you yelp you yelp slightly as tentacle arm slams in the wall of shogi doors behind you, crashing into them and sending them flying outside. How do you expect me to do that with all this shadow gunk trying to hit me? You certainly don't advertise your weakness, but Aho, even for the idiot she is, probably realizes you can't use the muck while intangible. Well, maybe you'd dodge some of them if you kept your eyes on the gal. Aho yells at you. as she lights one of her sleeves on fire, punches a small tentacle that has tried to slam into her, shattering the thing into a liquid. Okay, yeah. This part sucks because writing action with multiple people sucks. Man. You've been avoiding looking too closely at Miko because it's seriously hard to see the awkward girl who suggested flicks and chill looking like a feral animal. Her shrine maiden outfit was completely missing the left sleeve, having been torn off before you arrived. The white underpart, the kimono thing, had come undone, leaving and had been leaving and had been flapping about wildly while Miko leaped every which way. What? Her glasses had been knocked off at some point, her maroon eyes looking bloodshot and dangerous. The red bottom of her outfit looked like it had been stabbed through, likely by accident, from the spiked shadows in the room. In complete tatters. And she was still screaming. For a moment, your sight is filled with near blinding light before quickly disappearing. It's rather easy to make the connection of what just happened between Aho standing in front of you and the darkness still falling to the floor. Okay. Maybe not keeping your eyes on her if you're going to end up standing around like a fish. Turn intangible as a spike comes from below to stab you in the chest. It's only 2 seconds! The dragon opens her mouth to start talking again like an idiot, but is interrupted as the assault from the shadows picks up in pace. And it really does not let up. Each time you try to approach Miko, or even start summoning Damaku, you're attacked from basically any angle by the shadows. Even with your intangibility, you keep taking some light hits. How doesn't fare much better though. Keeps getting pushed back by the shadows as they don't let up for even a moment. Each step she takes has a dozen spikes flying out at her, or a tentacle trying to slam into her. Worse is that the hoe keeps getting in your way. When you try to go through the shadows to get closer to Miko, she starts lighting up like the sun blinding you. It makes it impossible to even know if it's safe to try launching Damaku. Thankfully, the idiot seems to realize at some point that it's pointless trying to get Miko herself. She starts to work on just keeping the shadows off of you alone, punching them with blazing fire as parts of her body light up as she strikes. Still blinding you when she pops in front of you to try to destroy a shadow or whatever that you didn't catch, though. Doesn't help that as soon as she does that, all the stuff she was holding back behind you have to rush forward. Gah! Alha's been making light and short grunts like that from behind you occasionally, making it clear she's taking some blows at the cost of stopping you from taking any. Doesn't help much, though. And with the extra support Alha's giving you, you're still having to turn intangible far too often to get more than a couple of Damaku shots. Miko, whatever the hell is happening to her, the senses she was using during her duel before still seems sharp as ever. She manages to easily dodge whatever shots you can get off, though she never launches any Damaku of her own at you. Well, Miko does try to get close to you and takes wild, uncontrolled swings, but probably because of some kind of fragment BS, attack and speed are so enhanced that each of her blows that misses easily breaks the floor of the shrine or even the walls. Ah! Huh. He's still screaming. His uncalm voice you hear throws you off for a second. Miko manages to land a good gut punch that sends you flying into a wall. God dang it! Oh no. That was just Aho, not a wall. Come on, you're a dragon. Nobody else from such a light blow. Glance at Aho. Back to back. Okay. Locked eyes wondering the same thing. You heard that? Yep. The voice, far too calm, while you and Aho keep fighting against the shadows and trying not to hurt Miko, keeps speaking. Good. Both of you are connected. Now listen. Oh, screw that noise. Okay, you're going to listen to some mysterious I overestimated disability of the maiden. He's currently undergoing a breakdown. Okay? Nope. Really not going to listen now. You still feel your entire body sense up in anger at hearing this calm, ice, faceless bitch and oh! It's Georg Weissman. Stop! Stop! Don't! Stop trails memeing. You can feel your entire body tense up in anger at hearing this calm as ice, faceless bitch announce, "Oh yeah, I drove your friend crazy." If that's a Kyohi gal Miko mentioned, I swear I'm like, yes, tear off my head, shove it down a drain. Very scary, Aho. The shadows are going to be a whole lot more aggressive. As you got backed into a corner, you haven't been able to get anywhere near as close to Miko as you had before. Miko, though, certainly has certainly changed. Or at least, her tactic has changed from charging blindly at you to sitting on the floor cradling herself with her eyes wide, not even looking at you and Aho. Stop it, 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 stop it. Is she not screaming the same way? I'll be 2 words. Now, I've got a few very important things that I need to be doing right now. However, it's extremely detrimental to leave the maiden in this state, or allow any yokai to be grievously injured during this counter. Take a glance at Teki, who's still pinned to the wall. You can feel the heat radiating off of Aho behind you as she quickly turns and punches the spike that was coming at your head into nothing. Taking the chance she gave you, you throw a sofa at the Miko. You even try to make any movements as a column of darkness strikes down from the ceiling, crushing and destroying one of your strongest basic Mako shots against nothing. Yes, shame about the fairy. Come back if she'd die though, so I'm more concerned about you two. I didn't think hear another blast of heat from behind you. Need someone more smug than you, Ghosty. Yeah. Makes me want to punch her more than you. Wow. I think you actually heard the dragon give a small snort at your joke. Good. Good distraction from how absolutely screwed the both of you are. Now I can simply knock out the maiden again. Don't! You and Aho both yell at the same time, briefly having your emotions align. It'd be best if you two took care of this small accident. Though, for such differing yokai, you've been working well together. I will be linking you two briefly so that you can attain the spiritual power of the maiden. So you can drain the spiritual power of the maiden. What the hell does that even mean? I ain't got a clue. Wait, I ain't got a clue, Aho yells back. Yeah, seriously, hold on. Well, not really hold on, since just having a dodge and Miko shadow stuff, but Aho totally just responded to your thoughts right now. Yeah. Guess what that brainy brat meant. I know you can't see it. You just know that Aho is going to turn left and punch another tentacle. Just like she knows that you're going to duck and throw another burst of basic Danmaku at Miko. Dang it. It's a twofold response. Seeing as the Danmaku this time didn't even get further than a few steps away from you. I like the idea of some mindless screw-up helping us. Yeah. But I ain't in the mood to risk this getting worse still. Don't go poking around in my brain, let's end this, got it? The Normos being so hard... Bro. Aho's question was a formality, because connected as you two were, she already knew the answer. You take a step forward, turning intangible to avoid a column coming from the left side. Aho flies over at that one, and her whole body becomes fire. She brightens the room so much you can no longer see. Not that you need to. Aho's eyes provide the details as either from the heat or the light. The shadows around her burn and retreat. Around Miko, a bubble of darkness that you'd seen her use when she first arrived at your base forms around her. Unlike that time, though, a countless number of small spikes form on the bubble. Firing off a few Danmaku shots, the bubble easily reflects and destroys what you throw at it. And with Aho working with you, as in all but a few seconds this occurs, neither of your Danmaku shots can get through the spiked ball. A plan forms. Quicker than either of you could have communicated normally. Aho rushes towards the ball, small spikes becoming larger as she approaches. They seem to barely be able to keep their shape. They seal their job and land hit after hit on Aho. Aho, though, doesn't relent. Wiggling her way as far as she can into whatever crack exists between the spikes, she puts her hand on the darkness. The room goes even brighter as her hands turn into a blazing white for only a second. Too dangerous to keep doing without harming Miko and destroying the entire shrine. The second is all you need as you throw through the quickly shrinking gap that Aho created a false spell card. It's not a real one, lacking anything but the basic power to throw Danmaku about randomly. That's enough. Before the gap closes, you see the bright and brilliant colors of tens of Danmaku go off. No. And the screams stop. As the shadows in the room return to normality, you drop on your butt exhausted. Each breath feels like a heavenly reprieve, the greatest of burdens. Not the only one who drops onto the floor, though. Teki's unconscious form lands with a strong umph and a soft grunt as the shadow tentacle that held her up dissipates into nothingness. Luckily, the fairy doesn't end up smacking her already bruised head onto the floor. Instead, ends up leaning on the wall. And with just the shadow tentacle vanishing, so too does the bubble of darkness Minko had put around her. Wait, had been put around her, and you'd use as a makeshift blast container. You physically wince, sympathetic pain running through your ghost body as you see the damage you did to the girl. Her Shrine Maiden outfit, already in tatters before you arrived, and now shares more in common with the Rex you'd first seen youkai in than anything else. Wump. Normally when someone would use you as a resting stand after a battle like that, they'll have the energy and pride to push them off and scream at them something fierce. For Aho, that'd go triple. But right now, holy shit. Agreed. You drink with her like she was your sister. Aho's warm breath hitting your neck as she breathes in and out, slowly taking in gulps that you might not even make fun of her for later, is reassuring. Proof that whatever the fuck that was, it's over. At least for now. And how it is for a good few minutes. And that's how it is for a good few minutes. The only sounds left in the ruined room are shallow breaths of its inhabitants and the creaking groans of the wood as it rests, as it resists the temptation to finally just collapse as well. Sadly though, no matter how much you want to finally rest and be free of thinking for just a little bit at least, reality has just plans for you. I hadn't been aware that that yokai come so close to the thoughts of the Buddha, completely empty and listless. And reality's voice was that of a smug bitch talking smack about you. Oh no, I didn't really mean it as an insult. Well, not to you two at least. Gently brushing off Aho's arm from your head, you slowly stand up. Sure that if you had any bones in your body, you'd still be cracking off like an artillery barrage. For the sheer volume at which Aho groans, can make for a good competition. You know what you could do with your private photo? Go fuck yourself. What the fuck do you mean unhidden? There we go. That was a fucking robot. It's a bot. It wasn't a real person. I can tell them to go fuck themselves unapologetically. YouTube, relax, Susan, okay? Where the fuck were we? Alright. Gently brushing off Aho's arm from your head. Slowly stand up, sure if you had it. Okay, yeah. Good for competition. God dang it, Aho whines. I was hoping that me and the ghost were just hallucinating or something. Mode. You say with the same enthusiasm as someone who just learned that they had an incurable disease. You hear the dragon sigh in utter confusion over your response. Again, not exactly the time to make jokes, but it still feels good to smile again. Come now, there's plenty more to be happy about. You guffawed at that? Because really, this unempathetic voice saying, "Oh no, it's actually great that your friend had an absolute mental breakdown." No musical spoilers. Because really, this unempathetic voice saying, "Oh no, it's actually great that your friend had an absolute mental breakdown and went on a small time rampage." A small time rampage? But it is. She, didn't Aho say the voice was like Kyoe or something? Says, actually sounding like a little offended. I mean, a breakdown was inevitable for the maiden, and having it happen now, instead of during the middle of something important, is much preferable? Aho, ignoring Kyoe, takes long limber steps towards Teki. There's an unexpected amount of hesitation in her movement as she grows closer to the fairy. Raised an eyebrow at that, and thoughts flood in about what that hesitance for somehow headstrong could mean. Fine, yes, I understand that from a more limited perspective, this event may seem bad. It's strange. The mix of exhaustion and desperation in Kyoe's voice makes her even more unlikable when you'd already been quickly putting together. Honestly, if she was in front of you right now, you'd be tempted to shake her hand for how much work she's put in on getting you and Aho on the same wavelength. Hitting a smug asshole who doesn't really seem to get why this entire incident is horrific. But I truly mean what I say. There's a plan to all of this, so if you could calm down for a moment, we'd be shut up. The room brightens as Aho speaks. You still don't have that much respect for Aho, honestly. First impressions mean a lot, and she basically slammed her fist in your face with the word "one." But there's certainly something to be said about her speaking now. She picks up Teki, slinging the fairy over her shoulder. Well, actually, she picks up Teki. I need to deal with this stuff right now. It's a Tori. Aho's voice. She certainly didn't always command this sort of attention. I'm sure she's always having everyone hang on to her words from what you've seen, but clearly because she's a dragon. Is gonna stop acting like the worst of your kind? Be quiet. Aho commands from Kyohi. Command happens almost in sync with Aho lifting the unmoving, curled form of Miko up over her shoulders as well. The room is silent. The shrine itself seems to acknowledge the absolution of Aho's words. As the silence continues, Aho leaves the shrine with a barely held together front. This is just what she was reminding you of. She spoke like the sun. Don't do it. Stop. Stop. You already did one. That's all you get is one. She spoke like the sun, holding everything around her, keeping things in some kind of order, pulling in everyone from the chaos of what had just happened and reining it in. Back of your mind, years you've been clawing and raging to stay alive in the world. See something you've always admired in that annoying dragon. Gotta take a little sip there. Look, it's a lot of reading, okay? I need water and I don't drink anywhere near enough water, okay? Okay? Okay. I'm telling you, best thing for this tough is to let him rest up and keep watch over him. Looks angry at Miss Ghost, but her doppel. This sounds like Igai is just typing RP at somebody on like a fucking Discord server. Because he's just saying like, looks angry at Miss Ghost, but her doppel's still looking at Teki and Mami on the bed. Uwu, :3. I know it should say like Aho or Miss Dragon in front of looks, but like, okay. I'm telling you, watching them is going to make them subtly better. We gotta find some actual help. Sure, Teki's probably going to be fine in a few days, but Miko's a human. She needs real medical attention. Looking at everyone... Doppel? It's supposed to be thinking fast? Omitting the subject of a sentence makes it's supposed to be thinking fast? I can't fathom that. I don't get it. This is too galaxy brained for me. I'm too smooth brained to understand. I need it explained. Looking at everyone. Who's looking at everyone? Doppel is looking outside. You try to keep your face as smooth as possible as you keep looking at Miss Dragon and Miss Ghost argue with each other. Look, I don't care how much you scream at me that those friends of yours are trustworthy, but I haven't met them, so they ain't coming. They've been arguing since they came into the shed with Mami and Teki knocked out. Miss Dragon assured you that Mami and Teki would be fine, but you don't really trust them. Them? You weren't sleeping. You've seen doppels moving around people. Both Mami's and Teki's doppels weren't moving. You hadn't left either of their sides since they were laid down on Teki's bed. Come on. I've known them for over a year at this point. It's insulting of you to think I didn't make sure they weren't full of dung. You saw Mami curled up at the floor. You were already scared. You saw how Mami's doppel moved. Terrified. Because Mami's doppel didn't move like a human or a doppel. I moved like a monster. Yeah. I moved like a monster? Oh. I moved like a monster. It looked like a monster. It looked too much like the scary lady's doppel. You honestly think a year or two is enough time to vet humans? Dragon recoiled slightly at Miss Ghost's words. I've been watching this family for years. I've seen people they've hanged with for generations turn out to be monsters. If you really care about my Shrine Maiden, better shut up and listen to me. Miss Dragon yelled at you to run in the shed. When you started to hear the noises and screams before even reaching the place, you didn't know what to do. You still haven't told anyone about how you cried and screamed. Your Shrine Maiden? What kind of yandere stuff are you getting up to, Miss Raincoat? She ain't yours, no matter how long you've been stalking her. When was the last time you actually interacted with a human, even? Because let me tell you, in case you forgot, it shouldn't be hyphenated. It's just 2 words. They're weaklings compared to us. Even compared to E-Guy, they're weak. That's right. You're so weak. When Mommy and Techie were being hurt, you couldn't do anything but hide. Look, leave E-Guy out of this. I'm not stalking anyone. Just watching like I promised I would. Miss Dragon and her doppel both look at you like they've been denied having any sweets for the rest of their life. Did you do something wrong? You must have done something wrong. If you weren't so weak, you could have protected Mommy. You could have made her happy like she makes you happy. And no matter how much you curl up and try to hide from it, that hurts to know. No matter how close you are to Mommy, no matter how much you try and shake Techie, it doesn't do anything. You don't want to be weak. You want to be strong. Everyone stop being so sad. That's it, huh? Just gladly watch as everyone you swore to do goodbye goes and dies. Miss Ghost's face goes really red. That's absolute garbage and you know it, Aho. I don't care about whatever stupid promise you made in the past. We need to get Miko some help, and we're gonna get it to her now. Get it for her now. Unless you got any better ideas, I'm going to leave, get my friends, and help that dork of a Shrine Maiden. Everyone's stopples are sad. They're all worried, and deep down you know they're afraid. Afraid of being weak like you are. Being useless like you are. All around strong and nice people just to be a problem for them. When you made everyone smile, don't keep smiling. And Miss Ghost and Miss Dragon are talking about trust. You traveled those streets looking for Mommy before you met Mommy. You learned how mean everyone could be, even they tried to look nice. I think I've actually got one. Miss Dragon's face seems to light up. Today, when me and Miko went out, and yes, we went out, she introduced me to an old friend of hers. I can't remember her name, but I got her face and body down. Know where she is too. And she got secrets to herself, that means she'll definitely not betray Miko. Your chest and head feel heavy when you think about it. You feel angry when you think about those people. You think about people hurting Miss Ghost, Miss Dragon, your friend, especially Mommy. Even with your relatively tiny hands, you hold on to Mommy's open palm like she did for you. And go. Miss Ghost's face doesn't change, but Doppel almost falls to the ground like a puddle of water. I'll keep watching, make sure no one hurts them. Any of them, okay? Those mean people scared you, so you ran away from them. It means you could become scary to them. You run away from you. Yeah, you better. Dragon says almost too quietly to hear as she leaves the shed. Mommy shouldn't have to be scary. Mommy shouldn't have to hurt herself to keep you safe. It's become the biggest and scariest to keep everyone safe. And everyone can be happy, like they make you happy. I swear, kid. Feel Miss Ghost put a hand on your shoulder. It won't ever happen again. Yeah, you whisper. It won't happen ever again. I feel like having this part, I don't know, okay, maybe it's like a style thing, maybe how I would choose to do it. I feel like having this part be a spoken dialogue is maybe a little, maybe pushing it a little. Like just a bit, right? I don't know. Probably a personal style choice. Just me, how I would do something different. Excuse you? Okay. I want us to keep this in mind, because it's going to be a very long time before we reach Chapter 5, and this is where it's going to happen, okay? Want us all to keep in mind, as far as we're aware, at this point in time, Aho is stated to be going to go find Medi. That's what we've been told by Aho herself. So just kind of remember that, think about it, plant it in the back of your brain. Keep it there for when we come back in a year or 7 when we read chapter 5. You may have problems with your memory. They'll destroy you right. Oh no. You're such a mess of hate. You're so hateful. You just want to change the story? No. That's like the youkai definition of hate. Oh man. Alright, let me keep going. New section. It was dark. Now it's bright. Everything hurts. And now it's alright. Slowly you open your eyes. Bright sparkling lights gathered above you like starlight. Your body sprawled out. The only things you feel being the weight of your tattered shrine maiden outfit and the gentle bobbing of your body above the sea. Oh wait, I need to... Okay. It's a contractual obligation, okay? This isn't me just trying to show off my musical compositions. This is a request from the author that I play this track when appropriate. Only problem is it's the longish section. Where the fuck is it? There we go. Make sure I'm finding the right thing. A second to open up. Okay, that should be good. Okay. Shove that over here. Bring this back. Let it play. Your breathing is ragged and rough as you feel like each breath is a small victory earned. Each time your vision begins to fade, you remember to blink away the darkness and return to the light. Maybe your thoughts feel encumbered. Like you have to lift the table with just your mind each time it pulses with life. No way to know how long you remain like this, how long you simply continue to exist and nothing more. It's likely that if you weren't interrupted, you'd likely remain like this forever, but those lights you see, the fragments, your barely conscious mind reminds you, spread out and away from your line of sight. When they do, you feel many invisible hands slowly and gently move you. Take your limbs to guide you to walk. They whisper in your ear encouragements in a language you can't understand. They breathe with you, and for you in equal measure. When you can finally stand and think and breathe on your own with confidence, you feel the light pressure of their help leaving. What happened? The question you voice is quiet and directionless. It isn't meant to be answered, but merely voiced into the void for you to reflect on. The laughter you hear in response leaves you ramrod and afraid. We're triggering core and a skill, apparently. Oh, it's the skill about the meme where we somehow figured out the sea was alive because reasons. Because in the sea, there's only one thing that laugh could be coming from. If it isn't you or Kyohi, it must be. Much has happened, my child. Much has happened, child. Much has happened indeed. Though whereupon the web of time are you wishing to read what has been recorded? The voice you hear is deep, rumbling. We imagine the sound of two continents colliding together would be like. The mirthful tone it takes only causes your fear to heighten. Ah, so fearful. Be frightened not of me, child, for I neither bare my fangs nor raise my claws. Despite the voice's claims, your heart continues to beat fast enough to easily be mistaken for the beat of a drum. So, like, it's just beating normally then? Because if you're right, you're not mistaken. Its voice is that of the very place you stand. voice of the sea. So please, speak freely, child. It was, and likely always will be a rarity for me to speak to another. Well, hi? Oh god, you want to go back to the darkness right now. You barely managed to speak, your voice having more in common with a baby squirrel than a human, with how high-pitched it was. The ancient voice's laughter only adds to your mental anguish. Yes, I suppose a greeting would be best done first. Suddenly the entire sea shifts slightly. You struggle for a moment to maintain your balance. I am Tenryu, the Celestial Dragon. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Hakure. There's a stillness in the air after the voice, Tenryu, introduces themselves. The tone makes it clear that you should recognize the name, but don't. Shuffle your feet as you wait for the dragon. Really, another one? To keep talking, but quickly realize that they're waiting for you to respond. Should I know you? You cringe at hearing your own voice, so full of doubt and hesitance. Because obviously the voice of the sea is someone important and someone you should recognize. It takes a good portion of your willpower not to smack yourself upside the head for asking something so stupid. And for some reason, it's the darndest feeling that the fragments close to you are laughing right now. You're more thankful than scared when Tenryu finally speaks again. So even my name has begun to fade into obscurity. Enough so that even you, the one who might help me hunt once again, does not know of my importance. But then again, I assume you do not know of your own importance either, yes? Your silence is just as clear an answer as if you'd spoken aloud. So let me ask you, child. Who are you? Tenryu asked. Wait, no. Let me ask you, child. Who are you? Tenryu asks, their voice taking on a tone you recognize. Wait, their voice taking on a tone you recognize when Mom was still around. Huh? But she would ask a question that you already, or should at least should already know the answer to. Uh-oh. Okay, well, while that changes, let's move on. We're triggering a skill? Wait, this is still fucky. Their voice taking on a tone you recognize Mom using was still around. I thought you were gonna put when she was still around. That's why I scrolled down. That's why I trusted. Okay, we're triggering a skill. That's right. I know who I am. I know who I've always been. I'm Miko Hakure. And the fear is still there. I can hear it even as I project my voice out across the sea. So now we've gone from second person narration, we've transitioned to first person narration for the narration. I'm of the opinion that it should have been this way since the fucking beginning, but but I think Baba was adamant about not doing that. I guess because maybe just the way this format is usually done. But there's enough peculiarities. Or not peculiarities, but there's enough the way things get phrased sometimes, and we saw it at the very beginning of the stream. The way things get phrased sometimes, it's like it's just begging to be in first-person narration instead. Like there's parts where the narration would say something like "you mean," which is like really fucking weird to read in second-person narration. When it's obvious that it's meant to represent a character going, "Oh well, I mean," but because it's second-person narration, it's like you're going hard on there. It's like it switches it to "you mean," and it seems like really fucking weird. It's like, what do you mean? I mean. Why is the story telling me what I mean? It's like that kind of thing. A shrine maiden in a world that hates the fantastical and hates me as well. Because, yeah, I'm hated by the very world itself. And now that I've seen the way this world works, both in truth and fantasy, can't fully love either. Truth killed mom and dad. And fantasy would see someone as innocent as Youkai died for not being feared. So, I'll be the one to change the world into something better. In a place where truth and fantasy can reside together in harmony. I rush out the last line, my voice carrying the desperation of my dream as I find myself stepping forward, driven by a need to be heard and understood. As I finally find that footing that I had been grasping towards when I was worried about Igai, Aho, Tomo, and even Kyohi. Because when I see them, I see people could be so much more if they weren't chained by their nature. Who could and should be so much happier. Such a selfish and impossible wish is the one you hold, child. I could barely hold back the tears at hearing the denial of my desire being spoken so plainly. Though I don't know who Tenryu is, I can feel the age and power in their voice. When they speak of my wish being impossible, though, I don't care. Because no matter how strong, knowledgeable they are, the one I devoted my entire existence towards. When I dropped a pin right now, I'm sure that someone all the way in the waking world could hear it. Whatever I might have said in my rush of emotions dies on my lips as I desperately wish to gaze into the eyes of Tenryu. The eyes of someone who wants what I want. I will say it once again. I am Tenryu, the celestial dragon. I am the hunter of the night skies, the king of constellations, once called by humans, Big Dipper. Tenryu's voice carries the beginnings of sorrow as they continue to speak. Now I hunt no more. Only rest and watch as the world below changes, becomes different. The one who I hunted becomes stronger and stronger. The entire scene once again shifts, and so do the countless fragments that make it up. I fall down as I fail to keep my feet planted, barely move at all, as it feels like a tsunami occurs under my feet. When the world around me stops shaking, I can finally stand up again. I can't contain my gasp at what I see. Far off in the distance, yet simultaneously incredibly close, fragments of stars come together to form an image of an impossibly large woman. Her hair is short and rugged cut from a single large cluster of stars. For someone who called themselves a hunter, their face though sharp. Punctuation, please. Their face, though sharp, lacks the ferocity that one might expect. Now as I heal from my wounds, I should not have survived. I seek your aid, child. The form of Tenryu becomes smaller as she speaks, and more defined too. Of course, what drew my attention first was her face, but specifically her eyes. While one was a bright piercing yellow full of dangerous warmth and mirth, the other was a hole of dull white with wisps of color leaking out around its edges. These two details, it also becomes clear that her hair, a pure black that seems to warp space, has not been cut by choice. Where it is cut, it looks like a sword had been violently and wildly swung. My eyes are drawn downwards as I notice the scales creeping on her cheeks and coalescing around her neck like a choker. The same kind of white scales cover her chest and creep down her arms from the elbows to below. The scales do the same for her legs, becoming a protective covering below her knees. And they must be protected against something strong. There are countless small scratches littering all of them. Of course, the scales feel like a minor detail when I consider the fact that she has actual claws for hands and feet. A tinge of sympathetic pain runs through my body as my eyes lay on Tenryu's right leg. The scales are not white, but black, as she barely dodged an explosion. Heck, that could be literally the case with the blast pattern still visible on the leg. But most of all, what makes me want to instinctually go closer to the woman to see if she's really alright is the large wound across her torso. It was so big and it was still bleeding. Well, I think it's bleeding at least. Because I've never seen a wound bleed stardust before now. Phoo phoo phoo. The laughter that comes from the woman tonight draws my attention away from her mystifying wound. It's hard to meet a half-dead gaze though, and I find myself having to resist turning away. No, Norimo, you hate it? Your brain is fried? God damn it, okay. What did Okina do? What, just because she didn't open a door on your back? Just because she didn't send her backup dancers to dance behind you like crazy? Satono and mine did not dance all crazy. Also, I have a picture of this character, but I don't know if I can show it. Baba might get mad at me. Okay, I have to find this visiting turns away. Her smile is warm. This form truly interests you so much, child? Maybe a bit too tired to think? Uh-oh. Think about what? Do whatever I want? You're about ready to fall down? What? No, huh? I sputter out as my face turns red faster than a supernova explosion. Because seriously, that's what she's taking away from me looking? That's not... Her smile, before nothing more than an amused grin, turns strong as her sharp teeth become visible, and her eyes become small with excitement. How wondrous. To have my healer so keen to already investigate me fills me with an excitement I had long thought lost. That smile, which carried with it an intensity so great that I only just realized now I had taken steps backwards from this dangerous beast, is thankfully erased and returned to that serene grin she was adorning before. Though if proper and successful treatment is to be carried out, my responsibility, that I do what I can to ensure that you are not distracted while we speak. I have to cover my eyes as another bright flash of light overtakes my vision, but once I can see again, Tenryu's wearing clothes now. A small part of myself was dying in embarrassment over not noticing the fact she was naked before, but I ignored that fact with the same grace as a skater falling directly into the one and only hole in an icy lake. Tenryu hadn't put much on, to be honest. Heck, her scales and injuries were still very much visible underneath the cosmic blue of what she wore. It wasn't even real clothes, but instead just a simple long sheet that covered her body. Trailing off at the ends, it looked like I could put my hand through and meet no resistance. Thankfully, my brain had completely shut down, and did manage to process everything the dragon had said thus far, and I found her latest words to be the ones that latched into my thoughts like a parasite. Talk? Not bothered to hide the pain in my voice. I haven't had the best experience talking about just about anything with anyone, talking about just about anything here. A wave of pain once again threatens to overtake me as I remember all my previous encounters person to person with Kyohi here. Maybe it's just because our last encounter had her do something, and ended up blacking out, but I started associating talking in this place to having a fight. Oh. Tenryu taps a claw against her chin as she closes her eyes. I'm mistaken for being your first in this place. I flinch when her eyes quickly open and she snaps her claws together. The volume is akin to a building collapsing. Now I recall. There was that gnat who had taken up residence upon my back. Quite the annoying little one. I imagine anyone having to deal with her useless buzzing would take little to future conversations. Yeah. I stumble over my words as I try to process what Tenryu is saying. Kyohi's been, she's been really hard to talk to. Look around quickly, though, see nothing in the sea besides what's usually there. Can she? Do not concern yourself, child, Tenryu declares. I'm aware of all that happens within, on, or around me if I decide to do so. And Nat has busied herself in helping in a way that surely end with only coincidental benefits to anyone besides yourself. So speak freely. To me. Same as you would to yourself in times of privacy. I raise an eyebrow at the woman's wording, but pass it off. It's not like the people I've met in the last few days have been any less odd in how they speak. Except maybe Aho, but she was different in other ways. Well, if you're okay with it... I shrug my shoulders. Feeling as my Tri-Main outfit repairs itself in this mental place. You told me who you are, but the name Tenryu still doesn't mean anything to me. My eyes scrunch up as I'm struck by a passing thought. And what is this place? I thought this sea was all in my mind. And with Kyohi here, that made kind of sense, but now you're here, and I don't think dragons can read minds, so now I'm really confused. Stars I stand on flow up and down as Tenryu laughs. Her speaking voice is deep and strong like a mountain. Tenryu's laughter is high and unexpectedly girlish, and its youthful quality only increases as the dragon hunches over, having to grip her stomach as she keeps laughing vigorously. I feel a flare of annoyance as I think that once again I have to deal with someone who knows all the answers but simply refuses to say them. But no. Tenryu's laughter quickly turns into horrible coughs as more stardust leaks from the wound on her chest. None caring about how strong a dragon that calls herself the king of constellations may be, I brush her aside and put my arms around her for support. Truly will be an asset to my recovery, I see. Henry manages to say through a gritted smile, but I have no need for you to simply support the weight of myself. She pries my hands off, strikingly enough that I worry she'll break them before I let me go. I hold my words of concern, and when I see her simply dust herself off, the stardust continues to flow. Now, I believe it would be best to start answering your questions in reverse of how they were given, she says, and starts walking away. I'm staring at her in confusion as she moves at a brisk pace in the opposite direction. It's a good few meters away before she even notices anything and turns her head over her shoulder to look at me. Come now. I believe the time is best not wasted standing in the tides. It's for me to catch up, and I hurry to meet her pace. Shall first answer the question regarding the nature of this place you call. Henry giggles for a moment before continuing. Let's see. Trying to let my surprise slip as the stars and fragments that have been following us, or following Tenryu, take shape with the vague scenes and images above us. I silently lamented the state of my neck as I balanced looking at the images above and walking at the same time. We were not fully incorrect to think of this place existing in the realm of minds. I did not dwell there, at least partially, and that my invited guests, or even you, could not appear here. The images of an eye like Kyohi's, the yin-yang orb, and my ribbon appear from the lights above. But as well, the place that one could reach when awake. 7 of the stars now create what looks like a constellation I've never seen before. This place is both my body and soul. Before I hid away, my glory could be seen by all on earth, 7 points in the sky. The constellation gains detail as Tenryu continues to speak. I gasp as the constellation's shape solidifies and see it for what it is. A dragon made of stars. Whereupon all but one of the other constellations and stars you humans view from below merely shapes. I, Tenryu, am the grand dragon of the cosmos. Tenryu says feverishly. I do not need any worship or fear. I was the hunters of the skies, uncontested and unmatched. Even my scales that shed and fell to the earth blaze with glorious power. I see thousands of bright lights falling from the dragon constellation. They're falling to earth. God, those were falling stars. Those were falling stars. You're made of stars, I whisper in awe and reverence. Sure, if I didn't already believe in dragons being the strongest, learning this would have turned me around to thinking so. No. The stars you see are made of me. I had to tear away my gaze from the sight to look above, look at Tenryu next to me. I can't say for certain what I expected when I looked at her. Happiness, excitement, or really any kind of positive emotion, maybe. I expect to see the mournful look she had. Like she was speaking of her childhood, of a time where she innocently didn't know how horrible the world really was. The glorious image above fades, and both left in silence as we continue walking. The sound of Tenryu's breathing, heavy and slow, perforates my thoughts. Her injuries, still easy to see, weigh down heavier on my mind now. The question is so obvious, I'm not surprised when she speaks again. I'm no longer the prideful, strong hunter I was before. She brings up a claw to her dead eye, and perhaps even without thinking of doing so. My nature as the greatest of the sky was to be the anchor of greatness, world below. My one and only prey, the Lord of a Night Akala, sought to suppress those who looked up to me. Everywhere he shined, as the star brightest, those who were able to fly above normalcy fell, became nothing more than dreams. I have to shield my eye as a single light shines above. I can't even look directly at it for more than a second before I have to look away. But I do recognize this one, unlike the other constellation I saw before. The single star that always shines, no matter where in the world one is. The North Star. Those who call yokai, gods, and the humans who blossomed under the abnormal, are weakened by his presence. When I learned that he seeked to clip the wings of those folk, I made it my mission to kill him. To remove the chains he had put on the fantastical and the free. Above, the North Star dims for me to see it. Dims enough for me to see it. The dragon constellation begins a chase. The North Star running above a globe. The dragon chasing after in a never-ending cycle. So then, the North Star is a god of truth? I speak my thoughts as they come, uncertain if I'm yet meant to speak or if Tenryu still has more to say. But I can't keep silent any longer with questions that burn so painfully on my tongue. And if you fall for yokai and stuff, that'd make you... No, you said you didn't need belief to exist. So, not a god. I mumble. Having stopped moving as the gears in my head turn faster and faster. I guess it'd make you... the patron of fantasy? But if you're supposed to be the ultimate powers of truth and fantasy, then that makes no sense. How could truth and fantasy swing on a pendulum between the extremes you've always been hunting? So engrossed am I in my thoughts, I don't even notice Tenryu moving closer towards me until the woman is bent over and looking at me directly in the eyes. And I don't squeak in surprise or anything either when I see her so close. That's not something a proper and strong Shrine Maiden would do, so I didn't do it. A pendulum, Perhaps that is how it could be described. Tenryu absentmindedly says that she stands up straight once again. And though I am certain that Akala is not a god, I will admit, even my most ancient self is unsure of his origins. In my memories, I can simply split them into a time where he was not, he was. I compose myself after not squeaking like a schoolgirl. I tilt my head. I'm sorry, but isn't that exactly how truth and fantasy work? Like a pendulum swings back and forth between the two extremes? At least, that's what it sounded like from everything I've heard so far. Something that simply goes forever back and forth between extremes. Tenryu hums thoughtfully. But a pendulum does eventually stop. Lie still between its ends. The situation as it is. It has been, though, it's unlike that. As the weight would never settle for laying between truth and fantasy. Sometimes Akala would become brave and shine upon the world with his piercing light long enough to change things. At other times, I would inflict light wounds and would force him into hiding for a time. Between me and Tenryu appears an image of the Earth. It's telling me to marvel at the sheer amount of detail present on the model, even though it's made from fragments and stars. I admit, though, normally the scale would not take so long to move from one side to the next, and I understand if you were to blame me for the situation we both find ourselves in. My head snaps to face the dragon. What the heck does that mean? So now we're about to reread a part that we've read prior. You get bonus points if you remember. The hand I led to this situation is multifaceted and complicated, for I am the perpetrator, the victim, and the sponsor. It's through my inaction and lackadaisical behavior towards those below me that I point to myself as the perpetrator. I now know what my mistakes were and still are. The knowledge, though, does not stop me from feeling the ringing of regret that strikes throughout my body, though mangled it may be. As I was the one who was harmed first, it could be said that I was the victim. It was what I thought for a time, at least. But that could not be true. I'd always been attacking first. So instead, the victim of this was those of fantasy who I had failed. I had given them a promise I thought would be forever kept. I was the one who first faltered in our dealings. I'm trying to remember if I remember block quotation mark memes correctly. I think the beginning of every paragraph has the quotation marks, and you don't necessarily have to have it at the end. I think that's how that goes. So by that logic, I think a quotation mark has to go here. I don't know if I'm remembering that correctly, though. I might be misremembering. Hold on! I shout, my curiosity tinged with confusion. I got that you were, like, hunting for the sake of fantasy, but people on Earth knew you existed? And you talked to them? Of course, she responds, sounding amused, like I was a little kid asking if I could eat a cookie for dessert. I would ill wish to ignore those I want to help. I want to help. I would introduce and occasionally reintroduce myself to groups, letting them know that they might find their own skill lacking. I might be able to lend them my aid. Yes, I was the one who sponsored the effort of all those you see around us. Tenryu says, gesturing to the fragments flying around me. Directly and indirectly, I gave them my protection as I felt kinship and responsibility with those who were similar to my ilk. I granted them a small blessing that would last for as long as I were to be of sound body and mind. I am most likely more loquacious than would be accepted by others. I am still indeed sound of mind. Shockingly, it was my body which failed first. So, your wounds. I pause as I take a deep breath. I need to calm down. I need to stay calm and think sanely about all this. When I lose focus, bad things happen. I don't know why I thought that, but I know it to be true. It's strange enough a thought that makes me mentally stutter for a second, but no. I can carry some strength. I can think more on that later. The one you were hunting did that to you? Perhaps a reasonable thought. I feel my eyes twitch at the subtle insult. But the answer is both yes and no. I bring shame to existence itself, if that weakling had managed to give me these wounds through his efforts alone. And my body has not been destroyed entirely. The wounds still bleed even now. I have been left without a handle with which to move myself. Left adrift, only able to observe and lend what remains of my power to this frivolous project she had created. I'm sorry. Not really, but I should at least be polite. But where are you going with this? Oh, wow. She just gave a really good impression of an elementary schooler being grumpy. Hands over chest and slightly puffed out cheeks there, too. Come now, child. I've been hoping that you might contain that clear frustration that was building in you. I'm well enough to know that you did not come here wishing to hear my own thoughts on matters beyond the ones that concern you. I shall remind you, though, that when it comes to you, those you care about, even those you hate, I'm always a part of the reason for why you begin to be concerned about them. I feel a not insignificant amount of annoyance when the image of the earth disperses to display a land that I feel I should recognize. Oh no, not annoyance because the image changed or that Tenryu is keen on to keep talking. I'm just sick of being surprised over and over again, because at this rate, I'll become numb to any sort of shock. I believe my guests have shown you this place before, no? What? It was so long ago that I helped make it. So, pardon me for the true name slipping my tongue, but I believe I've heard you refer to it as the Land of Fantasy. Correct? What? You made the Land of Fantasy? What? Okay. New meme. Why has Miko gone back to calling it the Land of Fantasy? She knows it's called Gensokyo, and she's called it Gensokyo, and she's heard it be called Gensokyo in conversation. She had a conversation with Aho literally this morning where they both refer to it as Gensokyo. That happened, from Miko's perspective, that happened like 13 hours ago. Why is she calling it the Land of Fantasy? Because you may have forgotten that. No, you can't do it now, because now you had to add a whole other paragraph where, like, Henry's like, okay, that's right, that is what it's called. Okay, so Tenryu isn't just a dragon the size of a constellation. She doesn't just hunt the literal North Star to kill it. She isn't just literally bleeding stardust. She also has enough magical power and her prowess to create the Land of Fantasy. Wonderful. Perfect. I am going to have a heart attack from fear and excitement. Dual heart attacks for extra pain. And so many new questions to ask just at this revelation as well. Like, who she worked with to make the place, what her role was there. Maybe just about anything that's approaching intelligence. Can you do it again? Brain, we'll be having a talk later about maybe having you replaced for failing to do anything right. Thankfully, Tammy doesn't start laughing at me again. Actually, it feels worse when I see her looking forlorn. He was closer to the projection of the land, one that I can now clearly recognize portions of from my dreams. The dragon gently reaches out and tries to grasp the stars it's made of. Some pull away and collect their hand, which gently cradles to her chest. I don't know how long we stand there before she speaks again. Truth had been an overwhelming force outside the land we had created. During the time when the land of fantasy still existed, though, there were still holes. Parts of reality that humans could not answer, not even begin to properly conceive. It would all change, of course, when a certain set of principles was to be spread. A collective concept that would later become law. Henry lets go of the portion of a world in her hands that stares me down. The same gaze my dad had. He looked out towards Zen. My account of what occurred is not without bias, child. I shall attempt to relay this information to you nonetheless. It was a theory. It was a theory of why the world was as it was. Because though they observed an apple fall, they questioned, why does it fall? They were unsatisfied with the reality that it just did. So they experimented, found a reason they were satisfied with, and created a truth. What if it simply fell because they believed it should? If all their theory did was solidify the idea that when an apple drops, it must fall. But they seek to find out how the world worked. How did the apple fall from the tree, they asked. For all things must have a start, they purported. Looking for the answer, they poked holes into the corpse of the tree that gave existence to the apple. They thought they saw cells within, like a prison that can find power. They decided this was the cause and spread that truth to others. Their theory laid out the what for the world. Yo! Here's a good meme. Maybe not, because this is actually like Western world bias now. Okay, never mind. But like, here's a good meme. Here's a okay meme. Since we're talking about cells and how they got the name. How about something somewhere? You probably already thought about this though. How about like something somewhere eventually where like we acknowledge that truth came from fantasy? So we go Western memes, right? We go Western memes, then it's like that's kind of like where science came from, right? Sort of, kind of. Like monks kind of like studying the way the universe worked, and eventually it became like, over time it became more of a secularized thing. Or like math. The numbers we use are borrowed from Arabic numerals and like adapted to like the way we write with the Latin alphabet. And like, you know, a lot of big time math guys in ancient Greece, a lot of big time math happening in like, you know, the Arabic world and the Islamic world, right? Lot of stargazing happening in like the Arabic and Islamic world. A lot of stars getting their names from the Arabic language. There's a meme here. Looking for the answer, they poked holes in the corpse of the tree. Okay, yeah. Spread that truth to others. Their theory laid out the what for the world. It was not enough to know how the apple grew. They needed to know what caused the tree it came from to grow. They required the answer to what made the tree come here. Inside the apple, they found what they called a seed. But when they sowed the ground with them, a tree did grow. We were told such a thing would happen. So then it was always to happen. But unlike most of their theories, this one didn't stop answering their questions. Where? there. When? Then. Who? Them. Answered, collected, spoken as truth. But I did not care. They could not answer everything, even as they answered so much. So I continued my hunt. For my hunt was the most important thing they would never know. Once I caught my prey, all would change. Their theories would no longer matter. Oh, how I prided myself on my actions. It was with glee that I did my duty, as dictated by no one but myself and him. I did not see it coming. Perhaps if I had listened, observed more than what was occurring during the hunt, I would not have been surprised. It was when I heard silence from them. When no more questions were asked. Instead, I heard answers. Truth. They knew why they existed. They knew how they came to be. They knew what had and was to come. They knew where they were to go. They knew who they were. They knew when they would rule. And they would rule now. Their theory was no longer a theory. It was the fact of the world. An absolute, unbreakable truth. Gave proof to every question they gave. It proved that a dragon could not fly. Here's our son's silence once Tenryu's story is over. Because I don't remain silent for even a moment after the last word leaves her lips. But that's bullshit! Tenryu doesn't even look shocked at my words. Her sad grin speaks of her reluctant disagreement stronger than any words could. Perhaps. But humans have always been keen on bending reality to their will. Isn't it so surprising they would create an answer to every question? I understand that! I nearly screamed, frustrated by just how calm and collected Tenryu is after telling her downfall so casually. I can read between the lines of what she said. That reality as I know it is... The reality as I know it is as it is. Because that's what humans think it should be like. But what I don't understand is how a theory could end up hurting you. You're a dragon that's bigger than the entire Earth. How can any human even start to harm you? Because, Tenryu wistfully says, as if recounting a fond memory. I had thought the same. Those humans who were lesser than me would never amount to much. And after all, I thought, why ask so many pointless questions? And what little they must matter. So of course, I hear no more questions from so many humans below. I turn my attention temporarily to them. She lightly knocks on her chest wound, wincing as she does so. Of course, it's when Akala took his chance, struck at me. I do not know where or when he mustered the courage to attack me, instead of running ever further across our field. I'm certain he was preparing for an opportunity to arise for a long time. Taking a sharp gasp of air as the stars and fragments form a picture. A picture of the dragon constellation reeling away from the North Star. Now as bright as I remember when seeing it in the waking world. The many parts of the dragon, on the other hand, turned dull and damaged, with three of its core stars becoming so dull, it's almost being invisible. The wild and unruly animal he is, Kala slashed me, burned me, fought with such vigor that even now I find the quality of will to be somewhat admirable. The wounds he inflicted on me, so new and fresh, sent me fleeing for my life. Hide away before finishing blow could be dealt. Though I have healed greatly since that time, the injuries are still too great to take him on again, especially with the strength he has acquired since I last hunted. Is this better? I shudder at the thought of how bad her injuries must have been. Wait, this is better? I shudder at the thought of how bad her injuries must have been before. This is an improvement. Certainly. Certainly. Tenryu cheerfully declares. That sage's plan, though silly as it may be, been working wonders. You finally here. I'm certain that things will only get better. Excuse me? I'm sorry, but what plan? I asked, becoming more confused. Kyohi's mentioned following a plan in passing, and I know I'm supposed to gather a fantasy and make a new land of fantasy, but I don't really... I trail off unsure if I should admit to Tenryu the sheer extent of how lost I am on what to do. Know how those tasks relate to me? Not what I was going to first ask, but sure. See, that is as horrible as ever. It's communicating even the simplest things. I don't hold that back my laugh. God, it hurts to laugh this hard, but man, she's not wrong about Kyohi. Yeah, you could say that. To put it simply, the residents of the old land, once they realized their home was to be destroyed by Akala, worked together to create an artifact. Henry points to the fan I'm holding. I give an accusatory stare at the thing in my hand. Seriously, where the heck was this thing up until now? Nat informed me not long after she intruded upon me. It was a device that would primarily be used to funnel the essence of fantasy to me. While I do not require such a thing to exist, I can still make use of said essence to heal myself. Three fragments circle around Tenryu, and before I can even blink, she has one in her hand. I didn't even see her move. And these fellows, who were quite rude when first arriving with the Nat, are key to helping in that process by providing skills and abilities to my healer. The dragon tilts her head cutely for a second, before lazily moving her eyes over to me. That would be you, by the way. I don't have that kind of ability, I hesitantly say. I mean, maybe I could gain a fragment that could do that. Oh no, she chides. I was quite clearly informed that eventually, Maiden most unsullied would appear here as well. And that through her touch, I would gain back the body I once held. Henry's eyes narrow. She looks me up and down slowly. Try not to fidget on the spot under such an intense gaze, so no one would blame me for doing so, right? You are a true maiden, yes? No touch of the uninformed and barbaric man or woman has laid waste to you, correct? For even I, in my much younger and curiouser years, it allows such temptation to sway me at times. Know their taste upsets both my body and soul in the same way as Akala's. Oh, wow. I didn't know I could blush this hard. I thought Teki ran all my embarrassment for this kind of stuff out when she flaunted well-drawn pictures that should have been burned. Good. The verbal diarrhea that comes out of my mouth sounds like the essence of, oh god, please kill me now. What? But, no! I scream like I'm gargling, like Teki. Oh boy, that's a lot of blood rushing to my face. Bruh. Nico. Why? I'm a shrine maid. I don't do that kind of stuff. Tenryu had been looking extremely confused at my outburst. She blushes herself now. Honestly, it's completely unfair that she could be so strong and so cute at the same time. I apologize. It should have been obvious to me that a shrine maiden wouldn't sully herself in the muck of truth like a common pig. Oh, yes. Of course. Of course it was that and not... Yep, definitely the same thing I was thinking. No one must ever know. But though you may be pure, your questioning of your role as my healer makes it clear that information I have been given has not been told to you. Raising her right hand, Tenryu holds up 3 of her claws. 1. When around sources of fantasy in the waking world, the artifact automatically gathers some of it and sends it back to me. 2. Fantasies generated wherever things exist or occur that go against the current truth of the world. 3. It's part of your role as my healer. When you sleep, you come here to better direct the fantasy collected across my wounds. In return for this service, I was to keep the partial souls, that what you call fragments, sent here safe from Akala's light. The analytical tone puts me off at first, but quickly I found myself enraptured by the straightforwardness of the information given to me. Something still bothers me, however. But what does healing you have to do with creating a new land of fantasy? I can see how it helps me, but I'm not sure how it fits into what Kyohi said. Tenryu taps her claw against her neck, making it sound like metal bars hitting each other each time. Honestly, other than that, I'd worded it not to sound as such. The plan she and I refer to obviously has healing me as a secondary action. The primary goal is to create another paradise for the fantastical. And frankly, such a thing goes hand in hand with me returning to the hunt. But I don't want things to just return to how they were. I whine, because if this is what the plan is, that I have the right to whine. Balancing between truth and fantasy obviously doesn't work in the long term. As I said at the start of our conversation, I agree with your sentiment and goal. The hunt was never a game to me, nor to Akala. I sought with all my might to kill him. I would gladly do so. The chance presented itself to me now. I feel my face twist as I rack my mind on what I'm hearing. So, if I were to just do as Kyohi said, I end up just bringing things back to the status quo and changing nothing. And what Henry just told me is that North Star's responsible for the cycle happening in the first place. So, I guess he needs to die if I want to fix things. But there's no way I could do that. So I have to leave the task to Tenryu after she's healed. How long have you been hunting the North Star? When the first humans thought beyond themselves. He frowned. I apologize again. This time for such a vague answer. But I plead that you understand that I do not much care for dates. I catalog my existence at the time I've observed events of interest, and not much else. It's fine. I get the general gist right now. Isn't a clear and cut time frame, but it definitely sounds like Tenryu's been hunting the North Star since humans first came into being at the very least. The fact that she'd not been able to, in all that time, kill him, makes me a little confident that she would be able to do so after she was healed. And voices concern to her. Of course I would not be able to, she says frankly. That is of course why I even sought to speak with you directly. When I first heard of your desire matching my own for the world, I saw an opportunity for success that could not be missed. How? I exclaimed quietly. I didn't expect you to be so honest about needing help. Sure, I was already planning to offer help, but I was already planning to offer to help Tenryu take down the North Star before I even voiced my concern about her inability to finally kill the thing. Seriously, isn't their pride supposed to be really important to dragons? Actually, when I think about it, her asking me for help is a good sign of how horrible the situation is. I don't say any of that to Tenryu's face, though. Bruh. I can see that. I scrolled down. Do not be concerned, child. Bruh. I have long since cast down my ego and pride. Dang, I nearly jump out of my skin when she speaks like she's read my mind. They were both damaged when I was attacked. Neither proved helpful in keeping me safe or healing me. But I discarded them, as one should do for useless things. Maybe if Aho did that, it'd be easier to talk with her. I quietly grumble under my breath. Louder, I say. Okay, so like I would put this after this. I quietly grumble under my breath. So, what exactly can I do to help? I can't imagine I could really help kill a star, I say louder. We gotta talk about how to make Yuko's fragment not shit at some point soon, though. Maybe tomorrow. Like, maybe tomorrow, like, after your stream, before mine? Yeah. I've told you before, like, I could show you, I have a few, okay. I still haven't built my wiki, but, like, I could show you, like, notes, because I've transcribed, like, a lot of my notes, by this point. Not all of them, but a lot. And I could show you a couple of memes that I have. Because I've told you this before. I think like during the inception of post fantasy, when you were like just like getting your ideas down, or maybe a little after. But I think any ability that a character can have that doesn't come with some kind of drawback is lame as fuck. because it needs to be. It means one of two things: either one, it has no clear drawback, which means that it has to be overpowered, which means that this character is an antagonist or some challenge for the protagonist or main characters to overcome. Because having no clear drawback means it's a devastating ability. Or two, it's dull and uninteresting because there's nothing really holding the character back at all. And they can just do whatever. Depending on how you handle it, it's one of those two things. Reminder too, like, even though I say that, I'm now thinking of like JoJo, right? JoJo villains, like main villains, right? Because it's gonna be easier to just do that because like they're the big ones that everybody like remembers. And like first thing I think of is like, okay, Dio. He's able to stop time. That's where the whole Sakia meme comes from, right? But like, here's the thing. The drawback, the limitation to that, was that during the fight, like we see in flashback how Dio learned how to use his stand, how he learned how to use the world, and he reminisces, he narrates to himself. At first, he was only really able to stop time long enough to realize what he was doing. And over time, as he kept using the ability, as he kept using the world, he got to the point where he could stop time for 5 seconds, and that was like his hard limit. Like for 5 seconds or so, that was how long he could stop time. Then when he gets what he's been after the entire time, when he drinks Joseph's blood, which is what he's been after the entire time, because he knew that was like a requirement to make his stance stronger, because it's like one of the things that was holding him back. After he does that, while he's still fighting Jotaro, he starts to notice he's able to keep time frozen for longer and longer while the fight is still happening. But there's still a hard limit on how long there's still like a limit on how long you can stay in that stopped time. It's not like Sakuya where he can keep it stopped indefinitely, for all we know. Or like Kira, where he can turn anything he touches into a bomb, but he has to actually physically touch something. Or for sheer heart attack, he can send sheer heart attack after something, but if you fuck up sheer heart attack in just the right way, it fucks him up physically. Right? Or even bites the dust. If you break the loop at the right time, it doesn't mean anything anymore. You can also only have one bomb active at a time. Yeah, like little drawbacks like that. Little things that make, and that's the thing about JoJo too. Almost every stand, with the exception of a bunch of stands from Part 3, almost every stand is like weirdly specific like that, and have like weird drawbacks like that, specifically because they have these weirdly specific applications. So like it's like Josuke in Part 4, he can fix anything, which includes being able to like heal people from like near death. As long as they're not dead, he can heal them and make them right as rain. If they're dead, he can fix them all he likes, but they're not coming back to life. And one of the main drawbacks is he can't heal himself. So you fucking stab him, it's like he still needs to be treated for a stab. You can't just use Crazy Diamond to fix himself. Like stuff like that. But like we can like talk about that tomorrow. I can show you like some of my own memes. Where were we? Okay. We're triggering a meme. Okay, that's more than a slight lie. But I don't think I'm anywhere near as skilled or powerful enough yet to kill something as ancient as a star. And anyway, it only lasts for a few seconds right now. Oh, okay. Trying to use the UU fragment. Okay, I gotcha. I get you. I know what you're trying to hide now. Like Josuke stand, you dislike Giorno stand for being almost entirely better. Okay, Giorno being able to heal people with his stand comes with the caveat that it hurts like fuck for whoever he's healing, because that's not really what his stand is meant to do. Like, it hurts like fuck when you heal somebody, because like he's using his stand in a way that's like not really what it's supposed to be doing, whereas Josuke's stand, that's naturally what it's meant to do. It's naturally meant to fix things and heal people, so like he could just do it, and whoever he heals doesn't like have like this excruciating experience, or at least that's how it's described, if I remember right. It's been a long time since I read JoJo. Well, Tenryu claps her hands together, smiling with all the sharp teeth on display. Honestly, such an innocent gesture shouldn't result in the entire sea rumbling for a good few seconds. Does she even realize how absurdly powerful she is, even if she's hurt? Shame that blood and broken bones barely matter normally? Eh? I mean, a broken bone hurts like hell. I can tell you that for a fact. I've done that myself twice. Not on purpose. I've had it happen twice. That's a better way to phrase it. With a schoolgirl like Lee, she says, the answer, as I see it, is that you, back on Earth, must do something absolutely incredible once I'm healed. Something that will distract Akala, just long enough for me to rip his eyes out, tear his guts into shards of dust, consume his arms and legs, and thoroughly erase him from existence. Huh. I didn't know the fragments could play sound. Definitely didn't know they could play the sound of crickets. You're trying to sell us as being way more reasonable than it is, you know? Existence itself could not properly express how unamused I was when I said that. Certainly, if I had been back in the waking world when I spoke, I would have generated enough fantasy with that sentence alone to fully heal Tenryu. Make it be as large as the entire solar system from excessive energy. Oh, come now. She waved her hand dismissively. It's a perfectly reasonable request. And after all, if mere regular humans could achieve such magnificent things that would distract me, then I'm certain that my healer would be able to do an equally amazing thing to distract Akala. That isn't how that works! Are you certain? The dragon asked with curiosity. Certainly a being such as yourself would be able to accomplish similar results, if not better than your lessers know. My face twisted in anguish as I rapidly considered Tenryu's statement and what she'd been saying about humans so far. Never mind. Matters in real life, matters only sometimes in JoJo. I don't know. I can't remember if anybody ever explicitly mentions broken bones. There's probably a few instances of it, but usually they just bleed a lot in JoJo. There's probably like a few mentions of like broken ribs here and there, probably, I bet. Like that time Joseph literally got his hand cut off. But usually they just bleed a ton. Which ain't much better, but like, you know. Miss Tenryu, please let me be wrong. I'm sorry to ask, but why do you think I'm better than other humans? She lightly laughs, the sea churning like when she had clapped. Why, I don't really think so, child. My guests, she really does move fast if she's already got another fragment cradled against her. Though I do initially tilt my head and wonder if how it could look like it's struggling so much in her grasp. I would put this here. This is like these weird line splits that happen a lot. And I don't know why they do. I've informed you of the many skills and abilities you have. Things that set you apart from the humans you normally walk with. Oh, so she doesn't destroy a boulder with a single punch. Well, walk through walls simply as though they weren't there. Actually, that isn't... Use tools to bend and cheat reality itself. Please, it really... Use darkness as a shield. Despite my best efforts, Tenryu manages to lift off some of the skills and abilities I've gained in the last few days, and sure, she's not wrong about me being able to do those things, but she really should have let me finish speaking because I can't help but squirm with guilt when she looks at me so hopefully. Especially since... Sorry to say, Miss Tenryu, but if those are supposed to be things that make me better than normal humans, and I'm sorely mistaken. Tenryu stops moving completely as she hangs on to my words. The fragment she's holding looks like it's gonna pop like a balloon. Now I'm sure it's trying to get out of her grip. Because those things you said that make me special are all things perfectly normal humans can do or have done. Okay, remember the implication here. Remember the implications here. Do you know what they said at the end of the Green Day fight? He's hilariously injured, but standing that you laugh whenever he's okay. It's been a long time since I last read JoJo. It's been a longer time since I last read Part 5. You dislike the implication? Why? I jump at the sudden sound of something like a bone breaking. I stare in disbelief as the fragment Tenryu is holding seems to deflate and stop struggling. Holy moly, did she just break a back that doesn't even really exist? What? She says far too calmly. But those are things that only beings like I and you could do? Well, God, don't say something that makes her mad. When's the last time you checked on the normal humans on Earth? Truthfully, not since I was attacked. Hiding where I am does not provide me with good opportunities to observe the world beyond what is near to the artifact. You don't have changed that much, right? She asks with enough hesitation that I can breathe a bit easier now. Hopefully that means she won't break my back now, or anyone else's back for that matter. At least in the Zen, the technology humans use and have is advanced enough that even if I started to fly in the middle of the day, people probably wouldn't think twice about it. Not that they think much at all, I bitterly add. Tenryu responds meekly. Her eyes somewhat glassy, she stares through me. That could prove problematic. I strain my ears, she says something else too. Something about flying and humans, I think? And though I can't really make out the words, I still feel like it'd be a very bad idea to ask. At least right now. Well then. Tenryu clears her throat. Her eyes returning to focus, looking at me with only a bit of confusion. I believe it might be best to find something amazing for you to do. I tried to look at her like an idiot. Like she's an idiot. I really do. She's a dragon, unfathomably old, who can break the backs of things that don't even have backs. Every small little thing she does is amplified by 100 times, but seriously. Seriously? And I believe the best way to do amazing things is to learn amazing things. And even sounds suspiciously like she's now having to make things up on the fly and has no idea what the hell she's doing. So, take one of my guests. 6 different fragments float up in front of me like soldiers ready to go off to war. And so why yeah, these weird line splits irk me. Maybe it's a style thing. Maybe other people. Also, it's weird. Okay, stop. Maybe it's a style thing. Maybe other people aren't bothered by it, but like it bothers me. Like I see it, and I'm like, wait, fuck, because it breaks the flow of the sentence. Style, but it's a writing style thing. Like for me, it's like, why would you break the sentence like that? Why would you break the flow? It's like if you're gonna tell somebody how you like drove to the supermarket. It's like, so I got in my car, I turned the key, and so there's this cat that went over there, and that's when the sky is like blue, and the parking lot has black pavement, black asphalt, and milk on aisle 4. Like It's kind of like that. It's like the story is interrupting itself. It says part of sentence, action occurs in middle of sentence, and go on. So then, why wouldn't you then say, so, comma, quotation mark, lowercase, 6 different fragments float up in front of me like soldiers ready to go off to war, comma, quotation mark, take one of my guests and politely shove them into your chest. Why wouldn't you type it out like that? Why wouldn't you split it in a way that's more natural to split it then? Yeah, but I think it's more about how it reads. It's more about how it flows. Or... Okay, there's a way we can make this work, but you gotta fix the pronunciation and just maybe change the beginning of the sentence a tiny little bit, but that could maybe work, now that I'm thinking about it more. You have like, so take one of my guests, and end that with a comma. And then, to like, she says, as 6 different fragments float up in front of me like soldiers ready to go off to war, comma, and politely shove them into your chest. Like, as if, and politely shove it into your chest, as if it's like the punchline to the joke or something. That could work if that's the meme you're going for. It seems to be lowercase though, because it's still the same sentence. It didn't end. And this would be a comma, because it's the same sentence. What? Confusion is the only appropriate response. And no, Tenryu, waving your hands around doesn't make what you say sound any more sane. It's an easy method to attune with the souls. I'm certain that these fellows, who I've seen, are quite eager to please you. Told some kind of exceptional ability or skill that cannot be replicated by the humans. He hesitates, seeming unsure if she should even be calling people on Earth human anymore. Or at the very least, I'm sure you could be inspired by whatever antics of theirs you might view. I stare hesitantly at the fragments and then at Tenryu. Are you sure I should do that? Isn't there more you want? No. Well, that was said far too quickly. Certainly I had planned to speak with you about what might be done to surprise and kill Akala. But obviously my knowledge of the humans inhabiting your world is in much need of an update. Tenryu's yellow eye seemed to gleam with malice. I'll have to question my unwanted guest. She's failed to inform me about the world as it is now. I'm willing to get in the way of Tenryu and her temporary prey. I look over at the fragments in front of me, reaching out hesitantly. I bring the fragment that feels like a hole in reality. It's there, but it feels like it's trying its best not to be. It's a feeling of death. Clearly it's a fragment of the dreaming ghost. To my chest. What? Why is this just like that? That's strange. When I do, Tenryu immediately disappears from sight. My consciousness fades, and I begin to relive another's life. I think I hear something wonderful happening in the distance. And how many pages we got? 5 pages? Okay, we could do this. We can do this, and then we're gonna have to call it quits, and we're gonna have to come back for the rest of the side stories later, because there's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 side stories you have to read. So that's not enough to carry a whole fucking stream. We'll figure out something else to do after that. I don't know, maybe I can do art, maybe I can do music. I don't know, maybe there's something we could do if there's too much time in the stream. But, we can't finish everything tonight. It's not gonna happen. I wish we could have, but it ain't gonna happen. It comes in as a blur. A photo too unfocused to know what's being viewed. But gradually details are filled in. The uncertain became certain. Become certain. The plain room is like a shrine, decorated sparsely. The only objects of note are a table and a few drawers against the walls. On the table is a tea set, recently filled and currently being used. The air is warm and slightly humid. Summer? No, it's spring. It's spring, and the sounds of bugs and people are both buzzing about can be heard beyond the thin walls. Neither can be heard clearly, but intent comes through like thoughts are written in the air. Thoughts about the girl, perhaps only a bit older than 18, or who sits to 18, or what? Who sits in the middle of the room? The movements are minimalistic, but akin to a robot performing a task over and over again. She lifts up the cup in front of her, filled with green tea, and a small sip before putting it back down, doing the same action every 5 minutes on the dot. She doesn't know for certain if it's spring right now. It's been months since she last interacted with a single living thing. So... Oh wait, I don't need to have this on anymore. We're not in the sea. Technically. I mean, we sort of still are, but we're technically not. It's been months since she last interacted with a single living thing. But she's only been able to guess now for how long it's been, or date might be. She's not any among the Saigyoji family. A girl with abilities that mark her as being more than human, or in the eyes of her family and the priests who used to visit her, less than human. Painful. Sips are measured because the things she breaks are no longer replaced. Her clothes are poorly cleaned, having to have learned how to clean them herself, even after the servants stopped coming. The tea set was a gift by someone, perhaps one of the priests or the member of her family. After the first accident, such gifts were no longer given after the third. After the third accident, those gifts became offerings in hope that she would stop, or that whatever god had cursed her would let her once again live a normal life. She doubted it would ever happen, though, because the girl's calm demeanor was a raging storm of sadness. Her hope had long since been left to drown. Her friends had left. Her family had given up. The priest from far and wide had called her a child of the night. She was called upon to be separated from humanity, live her existence close enough to hear, too far away to see. If they hadn't meant it to be, well, it had become a slow and subtle sort of torture. In that sea, she wasn't alone. Wait, but in that sea, she wasn't alone in that sea. After 20 sips of her tea, a tear in reality had formed. When it opened, all that could be seen within, an endless chasm of eyes that stared hungrily at the girl. The girl looked at them, maroon eyes giving the intense glow for but a second. And where a million had looked at her, thousands of them had disappeared. Her eyes lose that mystic intensity as a young woman steps through. Everything about this woman screams of danger. Such a sense was only given off when the young girl had looked angrily at the eyes. Pressure of warning could not cease from the woman. She contrasted with her face, looking so fondly at the young girl that it couldn't be said exactly what their relationship with one another is, but certainly they cared for each other. The girl who was dead inside came back to life when she saw her companion. She smiled like the sun had appeared to remove her wretched curse, allow normalcy back into her life. The woman smiled back. She began to speak to the young girl. They exchanged words with one another, pleasantries and the like. Triggering a meme? And I watch and listen, like an unwarranted third party intruding on a moment of intimacy. I watch the two speak, but I don't hear their words. Instead, I hear their intent, and the meaning of what they would be saying. The young girl was relieved to finally see her companion again, so she was so worried that the last accident, she was going to leave too. The girl was certain that another person of the night would want nothing to do with her, or learning of her curse. She tells the woman this, gives voice to her concerns. The woman laughs, and beauty more than makes up for not being able to see the cherry blossoms. The woman, Yukari? Yes, that's her. Yes, her name is Yukari. Yukari tries her best to wipe away the worries of the girl. She speaks of stranger and more dangerous creatures and people she's met throughout her life, and as a way to say, you're not actually that bad. The girl pretends that it works, and she believes that the woman, and that she believes the woman. The girl pretends that it works, and that she believes the. Oh, the girl pretends that it works, and that she believes the woman. So they talk. Talk about the world outside the girl's room. Talk about the people Yukari has met and adventures she's had. Talk about their abilities and that the girl might finally control hers. The girl doesn't talk about how she wants to get rid of hers. The conversation always turned unpleasant when she brought up that idea to Yukari. She doesn't want to leave. She doesn't want to have this curse still. Her existence ever since her father passed away, cursed. Her curse had begun simply and was easy to miss. The servant that upset her once, and she glared too hard, turned up dead a few days later. Then it was an animal, a family pet, that had bitten the girl. She was trying to play with the thing, but it played too roughly. They had a heart attack and died in minutes. Such events of death would keep happening to those around the young girl of the Saikyoji family. Eventually people started to say she was the reason for those deaths. For every death that people didn't have an explanation for, but she was connected to. Those deaths she would have inevitably blamed for. The worst part wasn't the accusations, though. It was never the accusations. Because the girl, even the first time she had used her curse, knew she was truly responsible for those deaths. She knew that the accusations were not merely rumors, but deniable truth. Like many humans, the girl felt guilty for the death she caused. She regretted each time she looked upon the living and, with but a thought, killed them. She had to live as less than the living. Remove as much of her emotions as possible in the fear that she might wish death so casually upon another. The torture she was enduring was not inflicted by uncaring and ruthless humans as Yukari had thought, continued to think. The young girl, what the woman of the night believes as such, feared that she would leave too if she knew the unpleasant truth. The young girl of the Saikyoji had taken upon herself to be sealed away from all the world. She decided to live her life in a way that would not be called living. Could it even be graciously called surviving? And Yukari would, in the far-off future, say that her existence as it is, and had been, was like slowly bleeding to death. She would not disagree. I'd agree with that assessment as well. As for the first time I continued to watch the dream, the memory of the dreaming ghost, I feel the emotions of the past run through me in the present. I feel every bit of doubt and worry and concern and fear and even happiness that the girl feels. I could separate from myself who I am, but can't completely ignore what I see and feel. Not because it's an impossibility, but because conscience would never allow me to ignore such a person, to ignore a person so full of pain. I've been zoomed in this whole time. No, I have. But I'm a phantom and something more and less than a dream. Both more and less than a dream. Oh, okay. I only keep myself afloat as the conversation continues, and it begins to dawn on me what makes this memory so important. Because Yukari has brought up another one of her theories about the fantastical. Abilities people like her and the girl have. How, though, might be completely random, always seems to align with a perception of sorts. Through her research, Yukari has found that youkai, creatures of the night whose very mention still brings a chill of fear to the girl, only begin to exist once humans start to believe they do. Of how it's possible that some humans possess a stronger spark than their ilk. Their view of the world matters more than others in some cosmic sense. Yukari doesn't say it outright, but the implication is clear. The girl of the Saikyoji is one of those people. That her curse is not something given to her by God or spirit, she's upset, but something she gave to herself. It's an unpleasant thought. It brings the responsibility of every death she caused to be even more of her fault. That she didn't view herself as being able to evoke death and would have ever died. I don't understand why Yukari would say this. I can't begin to imagine how someone who I can't even imagine beginning how someone who can make this girl so happy be so ignorant of the effect her words have. Miko. Literally like 3 hours ago. Yukari doesn't even seem to have realized what she's done so casually by bringing up a theory that doesn't even have any proof behind it. The girl smiled brightly as she decided to die. She kept talking pleasantly to Yukari as she began to plan how she would kill herself. She talked with excitement about the next time Yukari would visit her. She thought about reuniting with her father under a grand cherry tree. She hugged Yukari tightly as the woman left, hiding her tears as the woman couldn't see her face. As soon as Yukari had left and the gap in reality had vanished, the girl watched with vigor that had long thought been lost. She dared to look outside for the first time in months to see what the world was like, the conditions, the time of day, and they began to form in her mind. On the day that the grand cherry tree that her father had died under would bloom, she would go and sit beneath it as well. The girl had realized that she was fully human. She clearly had the makings of a monster. It's unfortunate, but the latest theory that Yukari had brought up was perfectly in line with the girl's own inner thoughts about herself. The theory confirmed that she was indeed a horrible monster that chose to hurt others. She wanted to become someone capable of killing anything. There's no end to my growing horror, as I was given understanding of the girl's plan and determination she had to see it through. I felt convinced that her death was the best thing that could happen. If her very birth must have been a sin against creation. If I had a stomach currently, I certainly would have emptied it. I knew she was the happiest she'd been in months, only because she was certain of what to do now. As she scrambled trying to figure out where to get a knife and desperately attempting to recall the proper and honorable ways of killing oneself, I was left wishing this memory would end. I could stop looking at this horrid excitement. Because even at my worst, I never felt happiness at the thought of leaving the mortal world. I never understood what it meant to wish to die. Finally be rid of all the pain and misery of being alive. I felt that far too much when Mom and Dad first died. And though sometimes those thoughts still push through, I learned to walk past them. Or at the very least keep my ears close to the ramblings of death. I never dared to believe that dying would be noble or just in any way. That somehow my death would improve things for anyone but myself. I knew I wasn't a demon that would bring ruin simply by existing, yet this girl knew that for a fact. She knew with confidence that she would only bring harm and pain to others if she didn't die. Couldn't she see how wrong she was, though? Did she not see that when she spoke to Yukari, that there was something more there? That Yukari would obviously miss her if she died? That the woman feel guilty if she learned that she was the reason the girl finally decided to do it? Perhaps then they were both immature in that way, unable to read each other's emotions or predict what the other would do. I desperately want to move, to shake the girl and yell at her that she's not evil, that her existence is not any justification to keep living. But if I could talk to her, it would change nothing. This event happened long ago, and nothing I do in this mere memory could change the past. But to the girl, this isn't the end. Her death in this world would not be her death in every. And in a strange way, she's right. Her fragment even being present means she's absolutely right. The other dream I saw confirms as much as well. That even though she's going to end her life, there's still so much more afterwards for her. I know for a fact that the young girl never considered around this time what I'm thinking. The interpretation of her ability that only makes sense knowing what comes next for her. Maybe she doesn't merely bring death to things, but perhaps open up a path for them. She closes one path and opens another. Death isn't the end, it's simply the start of something else. And there go, chapter 4, done. But we're not completely done yet. We still got like 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we got 6 side stories to do. But we're not going to do those till next time because it's a bit late, a bit past the time we would normally stop. Okay. Congrats on finishing chapter 4. You're gonna be sad about today and yesterday's Nanoromo. I'm gonna try and find the courage to write more post-fantasy maid at some point. Oh. Especially if you can find a way to write for at least 2 weeks without losing your courage. Oh no. Sorry about the O-make? Why are you sorry? I have something to read tonight before I go to sleep now. Anyway. Well now, this. Next up is going to be 6 side stories, and chapter 5, eventually. Maybe when it's done, and then we'll do the Norimo stuff, you know, along with it. Actually, we'd probably have to do the Norimo stuff, before we do chapter 5, right? Yeah, probably. Also, what I would recommend for the Norimo stuff, maybe number it. Because like sometimes date modified ain't gonna always cut it, especially if you edit shit during story time streams. But anyway, we're gonna get rid of this. We're gonna call it quits here. So that's gonna be it for now. Thanks everybody for watching, for stopping by, for chatting. See you all next time, unless I don't. Fuck me. It's still so hard not to say that part. See you next time, unless I don't. Next time I see you on this channel is probably gonna be next week, so we can finish off the last of the side stories we have that we haven't read yet, and that we've been holding off till the end of this chapter because there's some spoilery stuff in them, and it's stuff that we're not gonna really get into until chapter 5. That's why I've been holding off on reading these specific ones. Well, well, okay, hang on. There's 2 that aren't like spoilery, right? There's one that takes place during chapter 4, like towards the end of chapter 4, and there's one that's like not even. There's one that's more of like a side story that like has nothing to do with anything, but it's a newer one, so I figured let's not do that right away. But these other ones do have spoilery stuff. It dips into stuff that chapter 5 is going to introduce, but we're not there yet, so I didn't want to read those yet. Anyway, next time I see you on this channel is going to be next week, where we finish those. Maybe figure out something else to do during a stream, because those side stories are probably not going to be the entire stream. And then next time I see you on my other channel, it's going to be tomorrow, hopefully, for more Trails from Zero. Gonna have to see about that for sure, but should be how it goes. Also, Bob Up is streaming Trails in the Sky, 2nd chapter, tomorrow morning. So there's that too. Anyway, that's gonna be it. Thanks for watching, and good night.